In 5, 4, 3. Hey, I'm FTFE. Welcome back to the channel that does to stupidity what Black Adam does to every single person that he disagrees with. I've just noticed my mic is peaking, so give me one quick second to sort that out, because that's not great. How is everyone doing? We have a fantastic debate lined up tonight. We have someone who is probably one of the hottest flat earthers on the scene right now, and his name is Flatzoid. He's been on the channel a couple of times. All right, sorry, one sec. Just getting that down. There we go. Sorry, that should be sorted. Yes, we have Flatzoid on the flat earth side, who is... he's been on the channel a few times recently, debated me about gravity and about what science is, and I thought they were pretty good discussions. He's been doing a lot of live streams on his channel recently, which are actually very interesting to watch, and it's interesting to watch Flatzoid when he's doing his streams because he questions himself quite a lot, which is something you don't see a lot of flat earthers do. On the globe side tonight, we have the one, the only Conspir... No, hold on. Culture Catz with us on the globe side. Catz has not been on the debating scene for a while, and he's making his return tonight. Moderating is the amazing Johnny O from the Plot Hole. So let's just get everyone introduced. Here we go. Hello everyone, how are we doing? Johnny.
Awesome. How are you doing?
Okay, how's it going?
Right, Johnny is going to be in charge tonight because I'm not the best person to moderate because, well, I mean, you guys have watched hundreds of my streams. You understand why. So I thought I would get someone who is very good at being impartial, moderated a couple of debates for me already, Johnny O. If you haven't subscribed to Johnny O on the Plot Hole, then please go and do that. Very close to 12,000 subscribers on the way, isn't it?
Yeah, I think about 350 off or 250 off.
Well, if you guys haven't subscribed to the Plot Hole, there's already about 300 watching, so please go and do that, and let's see if we can get him over 12k tonight. Johnny, thank you very much for agreeing to come and do this. Why don't I just pass it over to you?
All right. How's everybody doing? Yeah, this is going to be some fun. I haven't had the opportunity to wrangle in Baldy Cats in a long time, so well, I don't think I've ever wrangled in Baldy Cats for a long time. So yeah, it's going to be fun. Should be interesting. We're going to start this out with a simple coin toss to decide who goes first. I have my Irish harp coin that was given to me by the Irish Demon. It looks like Chuck E. Cheese money to me, but whatever. So, just so we know, so everybody can see, this is going to be the head side. I don't know if you can see very well.
Beautiful.
Right, there's heads. And make sure we got this right. I would hate to There we go. And this will be the tails side. And boom. So I believe it's heads, Conspiracy Catz goes, or Baldy Catz starts, tails, Flatzoid starts. Is that correct?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
We've agreed on the terms.
100%.
All right, here we go. It is heads. Yoink.
That's me, innit? Look at that. Back out of retirement. Straight into it. No messing.
Cat always falls on its feet, isn't it?
I think so. All right, so we're going to go over the rules of this little soiree. Standard format. Generally like to run it my way, but we have a little bit. It's a little bit different. We're going to do 5 minutes each for intro and state your position, and then 10 minutes for your initial presentation, then 10 minutes for rebuttal, and then we'll get into an open discussion Q&A. Now, I would ask that everybody be respectful of each other. I'm looking at you, Flatzoid, and let the other person speak. And don't worry, I promise to hold everybody accountable for the questions that are actually asked. I will do the best that I can to stay out of the middle of this debate. The only time that it will come in is if I need to ask a clarifying question. If I feel your point is too vague or if your response is too vague, I will ask you to clarify. Other than that, this is going to be you two guys.
Awesome, thanks. Looking forward to it.
All right, so seeing as how Catz is in the fire, is a frying pan? Yeah, you're in the frying pan. Let me get this here. There we go. I'm usually much more prepared than this, but it's been an interesting day today, so there we go. No, that's not what I want. All right, whenever you are ready, as soon as you start speaking, your time will begin.
So just to be clear, this isn't my presentation that I prepared. This is just an introduction about me.
This will be, yeah, your introduction. You're going to tell us about who you are, what you do, why you're here, so on and so forth. You got about 5 minutes for that.
So I've had a number of different channels. Some people may know, some people might not. On every channel I've had, I've called myself Catz, some version of Catch, like either the Conspiracy Catz or GCSE Maths and Science Catz, I've had Baldy Catz, Conspiracy Catz, and now Culture Catz is where I am. That's where I can be found. And the reason I have the name Catz in all of those is, people often ask me, like, why have you got cats in all those? And really the answer is that I just love shitting in my neighbour's garden, and I think it sums me up, you know, absolutely to a T. You know, I'm quite good at climbing trees as well, but if I can take a big dump in someone's flower bed, nothing makes me happier. I'm going to take a big dump in Flatzoid's flower bed tonight. I hope he doesn't take it personal, but I do hope that, I'm just making this up the top of my head, but I do hope that the nutrients that I leave will allow his flowers to blossom and grow into something a little bit outside of science denial. I just made that up off the top of my head. Essentially, the channel I've got now doesn't really deal with flat earth much. I would love to tell you what the channel I've got now is about, but I can't because I don't really know. When you look at it, you'll see I've done all sorts of different stuff and I change my mind week to week. So I suppose that's what I do. I just do what I feel like on that week. But not really flat earth. And the reason I've walked away from flat earth, I'm going to bring this up in my presentation, is because it's become an extremely dishonest environment. The honest flat earthers who maybe are brought into it for certain reasons, whether they be religious reasons or whether they be just a lack of scientific understanding or ability to reason, those, but the ones that are genuine will do their own kind of research, if you like, behind the scenes and find a way out of it. But then there are flat earthers, prominent flat earthers on YouTube who are just extremely, extremely dishonest in the way that they operate, the way they deny science, the way that they don't ever even consider actually learning anything ever, you know. And it just became quite a boring scene, really. Once I'd had my fun, it was great, but it's time for me to move on for something else. But I am looking forward to coming out of retirement tonight. I've waffled on too long. I should have prepared something for that, but I'll just leave it there.
Okay. Thank you, Catz.
All right. Absolutely. Flatzoid, whenever you are ready, your 5 minutes will begin as soon as you start speaking.
Yeah, I'm just as Catz. I didn't really prepare for introduction, but I'm Flatzoid's perspective. I have a flat earth channel. It's relatively been serious this last few months. I've been taking it more seriously. I do run flat earth content, as you see, and I'm doing streaming much more, thanks to all the help from my generous supporters on the show. I really do appreciate it. I'm like debating. That's hence why I'm talking to Catz tonight. Tomorrow night it's going to be McToon, and hopefully next week, Mr. Sensible. So I'm not scared to debate anybody. I'm simply, my channel's about my perspective and my view on the world. And yes, that is about flat Earth. Obviously, I'm very vocal on what I believe, and I am not going to back down if someone's going to challenge me. Let's put it that way. And I'm an open book. I try and stay as honest as I can to show everybody who I am. And yeah, I'm from South Africa, if nobody has realized that. So please excuse the accent if you don't understand sometimes what I'm talking about. Yeah, and that's about it. If you guys really want to look me up, just go look up my channel and you'll see I've got a whole bunch of demonstrations and so forth. And yeah, like I said, I didn't prepare an opening statement about that. So thanks very much.
All right. As we are now, it is time for Baldy Catz. Catz. We're just going to call you Catz because you have too many monikers. Whenever you are ready, your presentation starts now. Whenever you're ready. Oh, hang on a second. We don't have any audio.
Look at that. That was flawless, wasn't it? I put myself on mute out of politeness and then didn't take myself off. Okay, sorry. Are we good to go? All right, I said before that this for me is all about honesty, and that's exactly what I'm going to mean. I'm going to be repeating that throughout the entire debate, the theme of honesty. This debate started with FTFE asking me if I would accept a debate with Flatzoid, if he was up for it on his channel. There was an email exchange you can see on the screen. The topic of the debate, you can see, was agreed. We would each bring 3 pieces of evidence for our, for flat Earth or for globe Earth. And Flatzoid said to me, we've got to define what we mean by evidence. So I, rather than get into a big argument about it, we just decided to settle on what you can see at the bottom there. Repeatable and reproducible observations or measurements that support or validate the idea that the Earth is flat, or in my case, the Earth is globe, without contradicting other world observations, right? That's what we decided to go with. Now, let me show you, first of all, how honest I can be. I can look at a picture like this, and I can honestly say, would I be able to expect to see something like that on a flat Earth? Is that what I would expect to see on a flat Earth? I suppose it probably is, yeah. I suppose with a bit of topography, I suppose I'd expect to see that on a flat Earth. I would also expect to see it on a globe Earth as well. Absolutely. A globe Earth of the size we've got, that could fit either model. I'm quite honest to say that. This is the same. Would I honestly be able to expect to see that on a globe Earth? 100%. But I'd also not be able to say I wouldn't expect that on a flat Earth. That's honesty. The clouds. Can I honestly say that it would only fit a globe Earth? No, I can't say that. Maybe I'd expect to see that on a flat Earth. All right, we get the picture. Honesty. Then we might look at some wind turbines. Whoops, what's going on here? Not these wind turbines, because these wind turbines were taken from a website I found about a future wind farm. These are CGI wind turbines put on for a picture for a future wind farm, because that's not actually what real wind farms look like. Real wind farms look like this. Would I expect to see this on a globe? Hell yes, of course I would expect to see this globe. And I will be asking Flatzoid in the debate, would you expect to see that on a globe? And I am expecting an honest answer of yes. And if I don't get an honest answer of yes, if I hear somebody say no, I wouldn't expect to see that on a globe, then we're going to really start to examine the honesty of the flat earther, because that is exactly what you'd expect to see on a globe. Would I expect to see that on a flat earth? Underwater wind turbines stirring up the fish? No, I would not. So I will absolutely 100% be asking Flatzoid and holding his feet to fire. Would he expect to see that? Yes or no? Be honest. Would I expect to see this on a globe? Hell yes, of course I would. Would I expect to see it on a flat earth? No. And all I'm going to be asking Flatzoid is the same thing. Are you honest enough to say, yes, if the earth was a globe, that's exactly what we would expect to see? Or are you going to somehow try and avoid answering the question? Would I expect to see that, an underwater city and half the sun underwater on a globe? Hell yes, that is exactly what I expect to see on a globe. Would I expect to see it on a flat Earth? No. But I will be asking Flatzoid directly, would you expect to see that on a globe? And we will see whether Flatzoid can be honest and say, yes, that is it. You know, if the Earth was a globe, you'd expect to see that. Or whether he won't be able to bring himself to say, yes, that's exactly what you'll be able to see on a globe. Sun. Right, and I apologize to who I pinched this off Twitter. I don't know who you are. Please let me know and I'll give you a shout out for this. But what a fantastic meme. If we look, you know, at the sunset on a globe, this is exactly what I would expect to see on a globe. This is what we see. We see the sun go down behind the horizon. That's exactly what we would expect to see if the Earth was a globe. Would I expect to see this on a flat Earth? No, we would obviously expect to see this kind of weird moving away in the distance. Right. Come back to that later on. Would I expect to see this if the Earth was a globe? Hell yes, of course I would. And I'll be asking Flatzoid this question. If the Earth was a globe, would you expect to see that? And obviously anybody who is looking at half an oil rig missing behind an horizon would say, yeah, that's exactly what you'd expect to see if the Earth was a globe. Not this, right, where they look like they've been melted. Any flat earther who's bringing this temporary image as their primary source rather than what it normally looks like is being dishonest. Right? This is what I would expect to see on a globe with refraction. If you can show me that picture without any refraction whatsoever, then maybe we can start talking about flat Earth. Would you expect to see on a flat Earth 200 meters of missing mountain? No, you wouldn't. You would expect to see that exactly on a globe. And again, I'll be asking Flatzoid, is this what you'd expect to see on a globe? Hundreds of meters of mountain below sea level. Because if you've never been to Blackpool, this is the big one here. My family have just come back from Blackpool. You're on the sea. You know, we're literally just above sea level here. 200 meters of mountain below that sea level. That's all been gone into before. Would we expect to see star trails on a stationary flat Earth? No. Would we expect to see star trails like this at the equator? No. All right. Why on a flat Earth? No, we wouldn't. Will we expect to see the spherical shadow of the Earth during a lunar eclipse if the Earth was a globe? Hell yeah, absolutely. Will Flatzoid be honest enough to say, yes, that's exactly what we'd expect to see if the Earth was a globe? Or will he try and not answer that question? Would we expect to see the moon upside down in different hemispheres if the Earth was a globe? Hell yes, of course we would. Only a dishonest person would say, no, we wouldn't expect to see that. Would we expect to see the solar analemma if the Earth was stationary? Of course we wouldn't. Okay, I'll come back to some of these images later on. They're just some observations, right? The definition we came to was observations and measurements, right? Here's some measurements. I knocked this graph up earlier on with a felt tip pen and a child's ruler. And it shows, if we look at the bottom, increments of 10 degrees of latitude. And then we plot the apparent angle of Polaris in the sky. We see that it forms a linear relationship, something that's obviously only possible on a globe. We can get into the maths of that later on. It fits the y equals mx plus c. Here the gradient is 1, the y-intercept is 0, so we can say y equals x. Anybody who's done high school maths knows that that's all very, very, very basic stuff. Okay? And here's where the honesty comes in. Because when I see flat earthers talk about the linear relationship of Polaris, they come up with absolute drivel like this. They come up with their graphs. This is a graph that a flat earther put on YouTube to try and claim that Polaris showed some kind of, would have a linear relationship with distance from the North Pole on Earth. There is no scale, there is no understanding, it's just random lines. I don't even know what that is. And it's good that we're getting close to Halloween because this is absolutely horrific. Look at this with actual numbers and actual intervals. And look at this with a series of randomly drawn lines that my daughter could do if she spilt her paint on the carpet. This was awful. And I think that was Flatzoids. Right. Now I can do that game as well. I can draw a graph with absolutely no scale, right? And absolutely no, and even this is better at trying to explain these observations than this that we're looking at the screen now. How long have I got left, Johnny? Oh, did you hear that? How long have I got? No. Okay. So I'm looking for a bit of honesty for somebody to say, okay, yeah, actually, I didn't really understand. 2 minutes. I didn't really understand what was going on there. The same flat earther, when we talk about observations, I'm going to be talking about sextants. We're going to be talking about celestial navigation. The same flat earther, instead of being honest and saying, I don't really know anything about sextants, said this. You can look at the transcripts at the bottom, talking about the index arm. Notice the angle is a right angle. We've got the vertex labeled. Notice the angle is a right angle. Look at that vertex, right up here. Obviously, it's not a right angle. It's a 60-degree angle. This vertex can only happen with straight right angles. Clearly, somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about, giving their opinion on celestial navigation, are they going to be honest and say, actually, I didn't know what I was talking about? Or are they going to lie, even though they've deliberately labeled the vertex, labeled the angle, and we can see by the transcript they're clearly talking about this angle? Or are they going to lie and say they're talking about a 90-degree angle between the ground and the person who stood up holding the sextant, something which isn't mentioned in the video whatsoever? Okay? Because if you're going to comment on celestial navigation, I want you to be honest enough to tell me that you understand it, because those observations only prove the globe. What else proves a globe is when something falls behind the curvature of the Earth. When it falls behind the curvature of the Earth, we could follow this and we'll see the splash happens when this object, we all know what we're talking about here. The splash will happen when this object is somewhere a couple of inches below the surface. When it hits, then we see the splash, but it doesn't occur when we're on that red line. But what a flat earther might do is recognize that and then delete that curvature, tell nobody that curvature was deleted, and then claim, oh, thank you, Red's Rhetoric, for proving the curve of the Earth. So honesty is something I'm really, really going to push home. The last thing I'm going to say, and it is the last thing, and I know I'm pushing my time here, is I want to look at this comment here. Flatzoid needs to be honest and tell everybody that his observations are all about his belief in God. We can see it right here. God is supernatural. Science is only for nature and not for the supernatural.
And that is your time. All right. Let's get, if you will remove your presentation, please.
Remove. Thank you.
All right. Flatzoid, whenever you are ready, you have 10 minutes.
This is for my presentation, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not going to share my screen, obviously, but I did at least prepare something. Okay. First, we have to establish what we observe and how we interpret what we see. Our perspective is the main driving force on how we deduce the reality presented to us. From the age of having understanding, you are bombarded with a worldview that's foundations is rooted in having a perspective on life that is said to you. This means that you are shown images, art, and fed narratives of the globe that is reality. You are taught to just accept it, and what taught in schools and in institutions is just fact. You are not taught to think for your own and take logical deduction to what is presented as reality. When you open a book, you see a globe. When you turn on the television, you see a globe. You get songs of space and travel and fantasy way beyond one's imagination. You are conditioned to trust the government and to trust any authoritative figure. When you were in school, did the education system teach you how to think logically or to accept the narrative based on the proposition that it is logic? Let's take a look at an example. When you are sitting, lying down or standing at this moment in time, do you experience any movement of the ground beneath your feet? We are taken to a faith-based deduction on what we are taught, not what you observe. We are told the earth is moving under our feet. We are told that we should not experience the movement because of its megalithic size. Is this what we really observe? When you look outside, what do you see? Do you see the sky moving overhead, or do you perceive the ground and yourself to be moving? You see, this perception is based on your programming. You observe no movement, but you just accept it to be moving. You observe the sky to be moving, but you just accept it as a trick of your eyes. It's the ground moving. Or you are not taught that it was the ground moving. You would even come to this conclusion. Would you come to this conclusion if you were taught it was not the ground moving? You are hardwired to follow the perspective prescribed to you without question. So this brings to me my first evidence for flat earth. Yes, I am labeled the flat earther, all because of the flat earth society. I tell you now, I live on a stationary horizontal plane. Even though we get all fed and controlled opposition narrative based on upward accelerating space pizza, which is nonsense, I boldly take the flat earth stigma, all because I know I would rather trust my senses than trust the worldview based on faith rooted in a religion of Jesuits. So evidence, number one, we experience a stationary plane. We do not experience the movement of the ground, but the sky above us. Now, the opponents will bring up man-made mechanisms like the focal pendulum to appease their correlations. This, unfortunately, is the puddle we sit in. The globe is based on faith and is branched and is trenched in pseudoscience, masquerading as science, just to fit the correlative bias. Evidence number two, the globe first has to assume after measurements are based off of a horizontal plane. We can observe daily that the horizontal is only optical and far surpasses the narrative of the set radius for the globe. We can demonstrate things vanishing bottom up on flat surfaces, hence on my channel many times and many others, with angles that are limited and other optical phenomena like refraction and so forth. It's all optical and can be shown to be this every day. The curve, however, must be geographic, and this is set physically. This means it has no room to change. As soon as you invoke optical effects that change the geometry of the so-called heliocentric model, you have thrown the heliocentric radius under the bus. Hence the black swan. Also note why my so-called 11 frames is such a devastating argument. I love when the globe defenders bring it up because it's a concession that the curve is not physical, but only optical. Hence, removing the inferior mirage is cry that I took away the curve. The measurements are then calculated into the globe from the horizontal and stationary measurements. So if it was a globe, why then would we first measure the stationary horizontal plane to then transform it into a globe? Why then would you require calculations like the Haversine formula if it was a globe? What is level? Well, when we look at definitions of level, we see it means flat, horizontal, no curve with no part higher or lower. Yet, we still find a contradiction creeping in some translations like the Merriam-Webster dictionary, after stating that it is flat, horizontal, and not curving, still at the end tells us to have the balls to level is a curve of the earth. If you do not see the contradiction, then I'm afraid you have successfully been indoctrinated. Places we observe to be flat. Large bodies of water at rest, like the Suez Canal, many, many thousands of kilometers of level water. Or how about the Nile River that flows only one direction, that is also level and contradicts having a new tangent going down from your feet at every direction? Or how about many salt flats or the railways that show no curve? Evidence number three would be the fact we have gas pressure. How does this apply? Well, simply first, what is gas pressure? It's the force exerted by the gas on the surface of a container, surface wall of a container. Now we get to the argument, but we have pressure gradients. Where is your container? That's so dishonest. We also get fed the spoon-fed of faith-based gravity. The contradictions of gravity faces the fact that it's never been anything other than correlative-based and is enough to point out something supported by natural law, which is flat earth-based. Flat earth-based is based on the second law of thermodynamics and doesn't violate it. Gravity violates that. We can demonstrate every day you require containment to have gas pressure, and we can demonstrate gas pressure gradients based on the behavior of gas in containment. Gravity is not seen as a force and thus invalidates F equals ma to compound the argument that it is a force held to hold gas down. I have yet to see any demonstration of gravity hold down gas inevitably. I, however, have seen the countless demonstrations of gas being brought in containment, then dispersing into the surrounding system. While I hope I made it clear to you that based on my perspective, that evidence is very clear why I say it's a stationary horizontal plane. I hope you really understood these statements and take deep thought into how you perceive reality, as it's all based on how you choose to be honest with yourself. Thank you. I forfeit the rest of my screen.
All right. Baldy Catz, when you are ready, you have 10 minutes to provide your rebuttal. And
10 or 5? Is it
10.
10? No, brilliant. 10. All right.
Unless you want me to, unless you want me to give you a handicap and put you at 5.
No, you're all right. Thank you. I'll take as long as you prefer to give me. So just let me know when my time's starting. We're off. Okay. So that was brilliant. If we look back to the agreement that I showed you, and I showed you deliberately at the beginning of the debate, the agreement was I will bring 3 observations or 3 measurements that would validate the fact that the Earth is a globe. Flatzoid should bring the same. And surprise, surprise, he didn't bring anything at all, apart from trying to somehow debunk the arguments that support the idea as a globe. And to be honest, Flatzoid, you've got to sit there and question yourself. You've had nearly 2 weeks to plan for this debate, and you failed to bring a single piece of evidence, a single piece of observation. And yet again, if we look what we've got on screen here, yet again, you want to talk about gas pressure rather than bring actual observations. Why can't you bring an observation that you would expect to see if the Earth is flat? I did it very easily, and I'm going to spend a lot of my time going over that because you've left me nothing to rebut at all. What we see on screen here are what I like to call the 3 levels of gas pressure. I just made that up. Hope you like it. Right here at the very bottom is what I teach 11-year-old children, Flatzoid. 11-year-old children. We Google gas pressure, right? When we're in year 7 and 8, and we have a look about it and we talk about it and might show them diagrams like, oh, this here, or look at that. That's something I designed for some kids, for some children, Flatzoid. Children. We take our Google, and this is our key stage 3. It's our child's introduction to gas pressure. And you never seem to come off this level. Everything you say is about, oh, we need a container for gas pressure, because your source for that are quotes like you see down here at level number C, right? Or level number C, letter number C. A child's understanding. But in reality, where we actually try and understand science, where we actually try and understand what a linear relationship is, we try and understand what a right angle is, where we try and educate ourselves and speak from an educated perspective rather than just Googling stuff and making crap up. In the real world, we move on from this 11-year-old's understanding and we learn about atmospheric pressure, and then at the higher levels of science here, understanding atmospheric pressure and behavior in terms of entropy. Fantastic paper. I suggest that you read it. So we can bang on about we need a pressure, we need a container for any kind of gas pressure, because it's a mantra that you have. You only have a mantra. You have no dome to point at. You have no container. You have a religious belief. As we showed in the opening statement, you have a religious belief that science is only for nature and not for the supernatural. So it's okay for you not to understand stuff because your God can then come and just defy science. But here's what I brought, right? I actually brought, Flatzoid, observations that we would expect on a globe. You brought none. You talk about the stationary Earth. What are you expecting is going on here? Do you expect these thousands of stars are all dancing in the sky around our head, all in line with each other to make it look as though the Earth is moving? Or is it more likely that actually the Earth is just spinning? Is it likely that the fact that we see 2 of these, one at the north and one at the south, is actually that the Earth is a sphere, especially when we see this at the equator? Or is it the fact that they're like little fireflies who've been trained by Eric Dubé flying around the Earth in a certain pattern just so you could stand there and say, well, obviously the Earth is stationary? How can anybody who's got any honesty look at these pictures and say, yeah, we wouldn't expect to see that if the Earth was a globe? How? How can you look at something like this? Well, you didn't bring anything like this. I'm trying to rebut something. You didn't bring anything. You said, oh, we're just going to state that the Earth must be stationary and everyone assumes a horizontal plane. Where are your observations like this? Where are they? You mentioned the black swan. You mentioned that. And what did I say about that in my opening statement? Yeah, we talked about evidence being reproducible and repeatable. The black swan is not a reproducible and repeatable bit of evidence, is it? Because when you go there 99 times out of 100, this is what you see. This is what you see. Not that, right? With melty oil rigs, this is what you see. And yet, when you've had 2 weeks to prepare, this is what you bring as your evidence. It took me no time at all to knock this PowerPoint together. Look, I could find that in 2 minutes, find that in 2 minutes. I could find that in 2 minutes, could find that, I could find that, I could find, they could be anything. I showed my honesty, didn't I? I showed my honesty when I showed those. So I'm trying to rebuke something and you haven't brought anything to rebuke. You've just said, we need gas pressure, a container for gas pressure, even though we can't see a dome. There must be something somewhere. That's basically what you've said. I am going to ask you in the head-to-head, where are your observations? And if you don't give me observations, I'm going to be reminding you about this, that you've had 2 weeks to bring observations. I am going to be asking you, do you think that is what we would expect to see if the Earth is a globe? And I'm going to see what your answer is to that. And please show me your observations. Otherwise, the debate's already over because you've literally come to a gunfight with a spoon. Honestly, I haven't got anything to rebut because you literally brought nothing, even though the agreement. How long have I got left, Johnny? 4 minutes. Shall I spend 4 minutes, Flatzoid, reading this email out? Because I feel like doing that. Repeatable and reproducible observations or measurements. Where did you bring observations and measurements in that opening where you just talked about gas pressure needs a container? Where did you bring it? Where did you bring observations that are repeatable and reproducible to tell me that the Earth was stationary? I brought observations. Let's do them again. Look, here's one. That's one, right? Let's count them. Here's another one. Here's another one. Here, right? 2 different observations. One of them we never see because it's made up about the flat Earth. The other one, we do see the sun. Think that? No, that's another one, right? Well, when we get onto scale later on, you talked about, oh, the Earth being big. Yes, scale, Flatzoid, scale. Where did you bring anything for me to rebuke? Where? Look, here's another piece of evidence, 200 meters of missing mountain. I mean, I don't know where to go with this. Flat Earth, here's another one, the circular shadow of the Earth over the moon in a lunar eclipse. Another reproducible and repeatable piece of evidence. Where are your observations and measurements? Where are they? I'm waiting. I've been to Australia. I've seen this is real. We can see the moon in the opposite orientation. Something that's impossible, by the way, on a flat Earth. If this was the flat Earth, Flatzoid. Hello. If this was a flat Earth, Flatzoid, have I gone over time? No. Then we were. Sorry, I just heard someone say hello in the background. Then we'd be looking at different sides of the moon, not the same side of the moon, but it'd be an upside down. You've not brought anything for me to rebuke. I thought you were supposed to be this really intelligent flat Earth debater who was going to give me a hard time, and you've literally come with nothing for me whatsoever. So I'll introduce you to the honesty table I knocked up before the debate. Here's the honesty table. In our debate, go on, where is it? Because we're going about honesty. I'm going to be asking you about boats vanishing from the bottom up. I'm going to be asking about the linear relationship between Polaris and latitude. And I'm going to be asking you, are they things you would expect to see on a globe? Put yourself in the position of someone who lives on a globe. Would you expect to see those? And I'm going to be listening very carefully to your answer, and we will see whether you're honest enough to say, well, yeah, we lived on a globe. Of course, we'd expect to see boats vanish bottom up. Of course, we'd expect to see that linear relationship. Of course, we'd expect to see circumpolar stars and different star trails. And I'm going to be asking you all these, and we'll see. And then I'll tot up as we're going how many times you make an excuse so you don't have to say yes or no. But for now, I just feel as if, honestly, I've had to waffle for 10 minutes because you didn't bring anything. I've got 1 minute left. So in that 1 minute left, I'm going to use it, Flatzoid. In that 1 minute left, right, we'll skip past your amazing geometry here with your, what is it? Your straight right angle that's only possible with this vertices. That was awesome. And we'll go back to the original email, back to the agreement for the debate. And the agreement for the debate was repeatable and reproducible observations or measurements, right? Repeatable and reproducible observations or measurements. Where are your observations? Where are your measurements? I've brought loads. I know you like keeping things very simple, so I've kept things very simple. So where are your observations and measurements? And with that, I'll call time.
Oh,
All right. Let me get this reset. This darn thing wants to work. Flatzoid, you have 10 minutes to...
Yeah, before I start, is there any way I can show my screen though? Would I be able to screen share there? Okay, that's why I didn't screen share in the beginning, because I wasn't sure I could. Let's see. Okay, share screen. I'm pressing share screen. Nothing's happening. Oh, there we go. Okay, maybe, let's see. Can you guys see this?
It says you're started sharing the screen. Yes.
Okay.
All right. Your 10 minutes begins.
Okay, thank you very much, Catz, for lying out to everybody in. Yeah, telling me I didn't bring 3 things. I specifically said the 3 things that were labeled them 1, 2, and 3. If you didn't remember. But let's first start with all your misrepresentations. First of all, telling me, yes, you can see all those things on the globe. I'm not saying you can't, Baldy Catz. The problem is when you say they are physical and not optical, because hence why the black swan is there, showing it's optical. That's why I brought up my 11 frames debacle, because that shows you guys dishonest. Also, remember you brought up that vertex thing, telling me I'm dishonest. Let's go and see what's the straight video I did exactly after that, just for Catz. Because Catz seems to ignore this. This video was exclusively for anti-dip correction. Should the actual, what I meant by right angle was the man holding the sextant. Oh, wait, what did you tell me? Then you show something like a comment totally taking me out of context. Why? Because you are dishonest, just as you shown. Thank you. Is that a right angle? Because the man is holding it. That was what I meant. So instead of misrepresenting me, rather show the truth. Also, you say we can't show the moon. It would be impossible on a flat earth. You might have to learn perspective, because that's the problem you guys have on the globe. Pay attention. This was 2 nights ago stream. I'm going to actually do an actual demonstration. Let's see. This should be the moon. You see that red thing there? That's a lid. That's see-through there. What's going to happen when I go to the other side of the so-called moon? Let's go. Let's move to the other side. Obviously, I'm just talking quickly about it, trying to get it in focus because it was kind of bad.
And it's almost like see-through there. Okay, now we're going to go to the other side of the globe. Which side is the red lid now, guys?
Oh, wait. Did it change sides now?
The red lid on the bottom or the top?
Huh. This is explained with star trails as well.
There's the red lid.
This is the star trails debunk of you also saying it is impossible on flat earth. Okay. Thank you, Michael Kahn, for this video, because it's very simple just to explain it. Star trails, it's all got to do with perspective. He's standing along the road. He's waiting for the car to come along the side. Okay? Anti-clockwise. What's going to happen when, well, he's already gone past. Sorry, I have to go back to where he was. Okay, he's going past now. You saw it went from right to left. Anti-clockwise. He just turns around, waits for a car to come again. Now he's facing south and not north anymore. What direction is the car coming from now, Catz? Let's wait for the car to come. This is such rudimentary stuff. It's the most simple things you could say. But you being a so-called science teacher is supposed to know this. While we watch it, oh, now it went clockwise. So that debunks your so-called star trails. This is what I was actually explaining, guys, because this guy is so dishonest. He doesn't want to explain what I'm explaining here. I am doing the math to show you how you got the 600 nautical miles per 10 degrees, because it's to the equator, and why the luminaries appear to drop because of perspective. He's walking 600 nautical miles away, which makes 80. There's the math for it. I'm not going to do it because I don't have so much time, but I do have this on my stream, very comprehensive, explaining this. Then I also explain it with the field of view, the reason why it appears to be dropping, because it follows your field of view bubble. You know, optics, that's how it works. Okay, what else? Oh yes, calculations are not measurements. You're supposed to know this. My graph, which you misrepresented like I just showed. Lunar eclipses can work on a flat Earth too, because we see it as plasma. Can plasma regenerate itself? Yes, it can. Blackpool towers. I even showed Blackpool towers a while back. I think it was trying to see if I have the other presentation here somewhere. Where did I put it at the bottom here? Because I actually showed you how focal length can give the appearance of drop. Okay, it's not on this one. File open. If it's going to open. Oh, there we go. This Catz shows you to be totally wrong once again. Oh, shit. Sorry. This is a 12 millimeter, taking exactly the same distance, everything, 200 millimeter. Look at the difference. Look at the compression. Is it dropping in her background? Yes, it's dropping in the background. Why? All because the compression due to parallax and the focal length change. That's why we get Blackpool Tower, like it does. Very simple stuff. My belief in God is very apparent. I do, but that's not why I say flat Earth. I've only recently brought up God in a debate because I find it very interesting to debate it as well. There's a lot of my subscribers that are also faith-based, and so we chat about God. You taking that comment was total misrepresentation of what is the context. Maybe the people should go and read the actual thread. What else? Didn't bring anything at all, yet all I've done is bring things. I've even explained to you what it is. And again, your globe is science, pseudoscience, as I explained, not science. So please bring for me science for anything you've just presented, because you claiming science, so it is your burden to prove by bringing science. Black swan is not repeatable. Yes, it is repeatable over and over because it's refraction. When you bring refraction up, it means it's optical. Why is the horizon behind the so-called oil rigs? That's because it's refracted, it's optical. The whole argument of the black swan is saying because you are changing Earth's geometry, you are throwing the radius away. You cannot have a refracted horizon behind a refracted oil rig. Do you get your problem here? Thank you very much. That's all I need for now, because that's all I can think about. Yeah. And I can also, wait, maybe I can show you observations of doing bottom-up obstruction, because you seem to forget every time I do this. Let's go look at my channel again, where I show bottom-up obstruction, where we do it over and over and over. Hence, I even show sun setting on a flat Earth for Mattoon. Very weird how we get that right, but it's impossible on a flat Earth. Explaining eye level and horizon on a flat Earth. How much time do we have left? Look at that. They're showing it different things. These are all demonstrations I've actually done showing bottom-up obstruction. This one is a killer though. You might want to sit back for this one, Catz. Okay.
Stay tuned.
Okay, we're not going to play music, obviously. You see, this is just the one nut showing there. Just want to quickly forward a bit so we can get to where it's actually showing bottom-up obstruction on the flat surface. Very odd. Now, this is an actual aluminium flat bars and saying I'm dishonest. Rather, you stop being dishonest and showing you misrepresent and pull things out of your ass. Thank you very much.
All right. We will enter into the...
Yeah, I just want to say if there's issues buffering, it's not me, it seems to be YouTube, guys, so just refresh, it should be okay.
Yep.
Is there a way I can unshare?
You should just be able to press stop screen sharing. I could probably do it for you, 2 secs.
Would you be able to do it for me?
Yeah, there we go, done it.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. We are now going to get into the question and answer portion of this. If we have any direct questions, let's...
Well, it was open discussion first before the question and answer between them.
Sure.
I've got a question, if that's okay. If I can kick off with Flatzoid, is that all right?
Let's
100%.
Okay, it's 2 very quick questions. I will be extremely quick. I'll be less than a minute. The first one is you talked about the moon and you did your lamp experiment. Let's just compare the moon here to the moon here. Northern hemisphere, summer hemisphere. They're identical, but one is upside down compared to the other. Thank you for your lamp experiment. I took screenshots of that while you were doing it. Here's the lamp from one side. Here's the lamp from the other side. Look at that. Are they identical, or are we seeing different parts of each lamp? So thank you for actually debunking yourself live on FTFE. That's brilliant. Now, here's my second question. We agreed, let's go right back to the very first slide. We agreed that we would each bring 3 observations or measurements that repeatedly and reproducibly supported our own model of the Earth, right? I am going to say now, I will take me 10 seconds. I will bring objects, including the sun, disappearing behind the horizon. I will choose star trails in the north and south and on the equator. And I will choose the shadow of the Earth on the moon. There's my 3. I did it very quickly. Can you, Flatzoid, just as succinctly, can you just tell me in order so I can write them down, 1, 2, and 3, what observations and or measurements you've brought that you would only expect on a flat Earth? Off you go.
I did explain this on my opening presentation.
So number 1 is, I'm writing it down, number 1 is what?
Stationary Earth, because we observe it so.
Hang on, sorry. So, right, so you would expect on a flat Earth for the Earth to be stationary?
Yes, because that's what we observe.
Okay. So what does the shape of the Earth have to do with motion?
Now?
What does the shape of the Earth have to do with motion?
Are you busy observing movement now?
So we're talking about the shape of the Earth. What does the shape? Yes. Why does the Earth be stationary?
Remember, it's
I haven't finished yet. I haven't finished yet.
All right.
I haven't finished.
Let's try not to overtalk each other.
Well, I'll tell you, we're going to your points number 2 and 3. We're going to points number 2 and 3. So you've basically said.
No, we're still number 1.
No, I just want your 3. 1, 2, 3, and then we'll discuss them. So number 1, you said stationary. Give us number 2.
Can we first finish number 1, Catz?
Just give us your 1, 2, 3, and then we'll discuss them in order. Give me number 2. Do
Why
you have a number 2? Do you have one?
I had it in my presentation if you forgot about it already.
Then, yes, I did. So please tell me, because not only am I confused, but everyone watching the chat is confused. What's your number 2?
Large bodies of water at rest level, hence the Nile River, hence the Suez Canal, hence I even gave salt flats, hence I even gave railways.
What's your number 3?
Gas pressure requires containment.
Sorry, that's not an observation that the Earth must be flat. What's your number 3?
Because, gas pressure requires containment.
That's not an observation that the Earth must be flat. Listen to the link between them. What is your observation or measurement that says the Earth must be flat? What is it?
Show me a flat Earth narrative.
Show you a flat Earth. I can't do that. It doesn't exist.
Show me a flat Earth that does not have containment, please.
Show you a flat Earth. I can't because it doesn't exist. What is your 3rd piece of Flatzoid? I did it very quickly. Things going behind the horizon, star trails, the shadow of the Earth.
I debunked your star trails. I debunked your shadow of the moon.
Give me your number 3.
It was on 180. Do you understand?
Give me your number 3. The chat are waiting, but everybody in the chat is asking where your 3rd point is. Where's your number? Where's your 3rd observation? Where's your 3rd?
Can you stop over talking me? Thank you. Okay, Baldy Catz. First, number 1.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and take control really quick. We're doing too much over talking to each other. I think, Flatzoid, there's been a reasonable question to provide your 3 observations that you would expect on a flat Earth. If you could just give us a 1, 2, 3 really quick, and then I think that's where the hangup is at. Once we have those, and I believe, I don't want to speak for Baldy Catz, but I do believe that once he has that, he will agree to discuss each one as they go. Correct, Baldy Catz? I have requested for you to unmute. So
absolutely, all I want is a quick, just like I did, 1, 2, 3. Here's my piece of evidence, and we can talk about.
All right. That's what I've asked you to unmute.
Okay, number 1, stationary Earth. Number 2, level water. Number 3, gas pressure requires containment.
So I'm going to start with number 3. Gas pressure requires containment, because my observations speak for themselves. All right, my observations are very clear. I can take photographs of them. They speak for themselves because they are so easy to see. I'm going to ask you again. The debate was to bring 3 pieces of evidence to show that the Earth was flat. Can you succinctly tell me, and I'll be quiet, but can you tell me why your statement of gas pressure requires containment means the Earth must be flat? Go.
It's easy, because it means it's not a globe, because you require gravity, which contradicts what gas pressure is. Every single flat Earth narrative is in containment. That's why.
Perhaps I can ask a clarifying question, just to make sure that everyone understands the point that you're trying to make. Are you suggesting that a globe cannot have a container?
Yes, because it's considered an open system.
So you're basing that on the globe model, not...
No, I'm basing it on the flat Earth. He's trying to ask me why it would mean it's a flat. So I'm just showing him why compared to the globe model, it has to be flat. That's
Okay,
why.
so no, to clarify, what you're saying is that you're not saying that globes are impossible of having a container. You're just saying based on the globe model that it doesn't have a container. Gotcha.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
So I've brought, we can see on screen, actual photographic observations that show that clearly the Earth isn't stationary because we have star trails. So can you tell me how the image I'm looking at now, the image that's on the screen now, how does that show you that the Earth is stationary?
First of all, we haven't finished my number 1 and 2 yet. You have
Well, number 1 is stationary Earth. So we are literally doing your number 1 right now. Your number 1 was stationary Earth.
Okay.
So we are finishing it.
Star trails. Okay, I debunked it by just showing you a demonstration with the cars going left to right. It's all got to do with perception.
So that's not the question. I'm going to clarify the question really clearly, so everybody on your channel and everybody on this channel can hear the question, and I want you to respond to the question I'm asking. The question I am asking is, how does this observation on the screen, because you're not showing any observations, how does this observation on the screen show you that the Earth is stationary? Does this, or, and this is the honesty test, is this not exactly what you would expect to see on a spherical rotating Earth? Which one?
You can see this on a flat Earth too, because it's the stars moving.
Okay. Let's do this in two points at a time. Number 1, would you expect to see this? Would you expect to see this on a spherical rotating Earth? Yes or no?
Yes, I never said you wouldn't.
Perfect. Well,
But
I say you wouldn't be able to on a flat Earth. I say you
But I
wouldn't.
just debunked you with that. But so you're just ignoring the actual demonstration that debunked you.
There is no demonstration.
Demonstration.
I'm sat here wondering where your demonstration was. What you did is you took a picture of the lamp in your living room, you walked from one side of it to another, and then you said, there we go, Star Trek debunked.
Johnny, can you stop talking over me? Can you please stop talking over me?
I'll tell you what, seeing as how the demonstration is in question, could you please demonstrate or show your demonstration once again so we can witness this and have a better understanding of what that demonstration is?
Okay, I'm going to try and get it up again.
That's what she said.
Oh, you beat me to it. I was literally unmuting myself to say that.
I was avoiding that one.
Who are the dads in the room? Let me guess.
But yeah, it's amazing how he has to just ignore everything I present and actually show actual numbers. And by the way, that moon showing 180 is exactly how it looks in the southern hemisphere. Remember, I lived in the so-called southern hemisphere, and the sun also rotates in a 360 angle, if you haven't realized that.
Awesome. Let's see your evidence.
It's all about the good perspective. But while we're looking, I'm just trying to get that again, where I'm showing, I think it's loading. Okay.
What are you doing?
I'm going to share screen now.
Just while Flatzoid's getting that up, I've seen several questions in the chat about what this is on my forehead. That's called a big ass spot. So, yeah.
Okay, it's just buffering. Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
It's all right, but we are to be clear that when this comes up, this is actually going to be evidence that proves that the star trails are possible. That star trails are possible on a flat Earth. Awesome.
Yeah.
And it's a car driving down the street. Yes, I did see this. Yes.
East.
I did see a car drive down the street.
Yeah. Just pay attention quickly, please. And
Awesome.
we are looking. That's east. Remember, that's where the stars are coming from, the car, and he's looking north now. So, in other words, he's looking north from the southerly direction. He's waiting for this car to come from right here. Here comes the star moving across the flat stationary plane. Because it's all got to do with your position, with your perspective. See, it looks anti-clockwise.
Is there a way to put both of those Baldy Catz? Can we put your image next to what we're seeing here so we show the correlation between the two?
Do I need to share again? Oh, I can't. No, it says it won't let me while another participant is sharing.
Okay, east to west. Now he's looking south.
Okay, Flatzoid, that's brilliant. Can I just ask, how on earth is that supposed to debunk the fact that to prove that star trails are possible on a
because
flat
it's
Earth?
got to do with simple perspective. It's got to do with your position
Right.
towards the stars.
So we have an issue here, and I'm just going to be absolutely brutally honest. We have an issue here of extremely low level thinking, where we look at star trails in the north. We look, in fact, can I share my screen now? We look at, you'll have to stop.
Yeah. Stop
So
sharing.
here is where the honesty value comes in. Now, what I will say, and I'm very, very happy you said this, I'll give you a big gold star for the honesty. You said this is, and just for the benefit of the nearly 900 people watching and the 4 or 5 watching on your channel,
That should be what I said though.
you said that this is what we would expect on a globe Earth. You specifically said that, so I'll take that as a win. Now, when it comes to yours, what we actually see on the Earth is we see movement in one hemisphere of the stars, perfectly circular movement with them all beautifully, all of them, these beautiful circles. And you seem to be claiming what? That these stars are driving around in these amazingly beautiful circles just for our benefit. And for some reason, when we get to the equator, we see something like this. And you'll never talk about this because you've got no idea what you're talking about, because you've got such low level thinking. You think a car going from one place to another. Can we just have it on record that your explanation for star trails, you got me going in now, is literally a car driving past a bus stop? Well, can I just stop and just give you a round of applause, Flatzoid? Can you explain this?
Can I defend myself? Okay, first of all, let's do it this way. What happens when you stand and something flies, let's say like a plane above you, Baldy Catz? If it's directly above you. No, it's directly above you. Will it have that at the so-called equator straight above you?
Sorry, what on earth are you talking about?
Let's say you're looking up. A plane, let's say you're standing and looking up. A plane flies directly overhead. From front of you to back. It's going to look like it's just going straight above you. Now, the plane stays in exactly the same position, flying that same path. You move eastward and you look at that plane. Would it be going now anti-clockwise?
So what you're basically saying is you've got no explanation. You've got no explanation.
Just like, excuse me, I'm busy selling you. Just like we saw with the car. And then you go the other way and look the opposite direction. It goes the right way. Heck, I can even use this with Mr. Sensible's video that he did. You know that one where he turns around on the chair? Awesome. It's exactly the same. It's got to do with your position to the rotation.
Okay. So right now, the cognitive dissonance is kicking in because you realize you look at that picture of the equator and there's no explanation that you've got, is there? If you're
stop changing every time you get the
just let me finish this point. I'll come straight back to you. Let me finish this point.
That's all you do.
Because let me finish the point, because I was speaking, then I'll come straight back to you and I'll be quiet. Let me finish the point. Let me finish the point. Let me finish the point. Let me finish.
All right. We'll let everybody take a quick breath and then we'll get back to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with Flatzoid. If you will answer the question, and then Baldy Catz, please respond. So Flatzoid, actually, let me go ahead and get this just because I want to make sure we know what question we're asking. Baldy Catz, I'll ask you to restate your question as in its simplest form and let Flatzoid have the opportunity to answer.
Okay, so in the simplest form, I've got star trails on the screen now. I asked you in this debate for observations that show that the Earth is flat. And I'm asking you, is the best you've got a car driving down the street?
May I answer now? Or are you going to talk over me again?
No, I'm going to put myself on mute.
Okay, thank you. First of all, Catz, I said stationary Earth. My point was, which you obfuscated from the beginning, was, do you feel movement? Which you've been too dishonest to even answer me because you just want to run away.
Hang on a second, Flatzoid. I would ask that you answer his question and then we can
I am answering it.
Seems a roundabout way.
I'm trying to get to it, but it's also not really helping me when you guys are showing bias towards me. And every time you mute me, you want me to answer him, but he hasn't answered one thing this whole
hang on a second. I'm not showing bias to anybody. In this whole stream, I've only interrupted twice. And again, I asked you one clarifying question to make sure we all understood your point the first time. The second time, yes, I did want to make sure that the question that was asked by Baldy Catz, I don't want to misrepresent his question.
Okay.
I wanted him to ask it so you could answer it.
Okay, but I'm trying to. But like I'm saying, I brought up the argument stationary Earth. So now he's bringing up star trails. I literally saw a demonstration showing him why it is the way it is. I'm giving the mechanics for what is the reason it's done like that. So just because he's ignorant and dishonest by ignoring what it is, doesn't mean that I'm not bringing anything. It just means I'm demolishing his argument. And that's why I asked in the beginning, do you feel movement under your feet, Baldy Catz? It's a simple yes or no. He simply even hasn't answered me a yes or a no yet. Do you feel movement?
Well, watch how this is done, Flatzoid. Watch. No. See how easy that is.
Wow. So there we go. Flat Earth proof 1, guys. That's my first one. So
no, stop. Sorry, no, not flat proof 1, because if I'm sat on a train or a plane in the sky, I don't feel movement, but I use my eyes to look around me and my observations to know that I am moving. Just like when we look at star trails, we're using our eyes to realize that we are moving. Your explanation for these apparent star trails is that, I mean, look how many thousands of stars there are in the northern hemisphere, and we've got the same in the southern hemisphere. We've got these at the equator. Your explanation is these individual stars are somehow dancing around the Earth, all like they're on Strictly Come Dancing in some sort of pattern. You've got no explanation for how on earth they are coordinating themselves so beautifully in the sky. They're just doing it for shits and giggles. And your proof of that is a car driving down the street. And you expect me to sit here and say, oh yeah, Flatzoid has proved that the Earth is stationary. Yes, well done. Right, Flatzoid, I'm going to declare now that the most obvious proof that the Earth is moving or stationary is the star trails, and you have not provided any evidence other than that. The chat agree with me. I agree with me. You don't agree with me. I don't care. Let's move on to number 2.
Okay, can I give my statement now?
Please do.
You must have some kind of problem if you can't feel movement on a train or a car or a plane, because you know your ear vibrates and that's how you feel movement. A train, I've done a 24-hour trip on a train, and believe me, I felt every single second of it. I knew I was moving even with my eyes closed. On a plane, you feel the vibrations of that jet engine. So it's bullshit when you come and say you do not feel movement just because you're not looking. Second of all, I actually give the mechanics on how it's working and why it's working. So just because you are throwing it away because you want to be biased and say I haven't proved anything is just you being dishonest. And I do have to say thank you that you agreed you do not feel movement, and that's validating my opening statement when I say it's all got to do with your perception. If you didn't know someone told you it's been moving, you wouldn't know it's moving. Hence, validating argument number 1.
Awesome.
Okay,
so
number 2.
To sum that up, can I just respond to that and you can get to number 2? So to sum that up, your argument that the Earth is stationary is that a jet plane has engines which sends vibrations through the plane, which we feel. And because we don't feel that on the Earth, then what? The Earth is stationary or it doesn't have jet engines? I don't know, but you've shown a car driving down the street. It's all very compelling stuff, Flatzoid. Well done. Go and rewrite the textbooks. That is absolutely awesome. But I'm going to stick with the actual observations that I brought. You didn't bring any observations. You just said the Earth is stationary and show me a picture of a car going down the street. So well done. If that is the quality of your evidence, brilliant. Let's move on to number 2, because I know watching the chat and the chat on your channel that you're not gone down very well with that. So let's go on to number 2, see if you can salvage something. Off you go.
Okay, so in other words, just to iterate, he says, because I explain it with mechanics, I'm wrong, and because he just has a belief it spins, therefore it spins. Okay, next, number 2. What's your next one?
Oh, mine? Well, we haven't even got to my my first one yet. My first one is objects disappearing over the horizon. Now, I'll tell you why this is evidence. Because not only do they disappear over the horizon every single time, Flatzoid, every single time, not every now and then, like when you see something like the Black Swan, because I live on an island. I can go to the top of Scotland or down south. I can look east. I can look west. I can look on the diagonals. Every single direction I look, we see things moving away and then disappearing bottom up. We see the sun dropping below the horizon. We see cities where if it's not below the horizon, then everybody there must have gills or something because they're completely drowned. I showed you a picture here where we got it of our underwater wind turbines. Absolutely amazing. We see it all of the time. So if your rebuttal to that is, oh, black swan, right? Which doesn't even look like that all of the time, then we may as well skip on to number 3, because again, you've got absolutely nothing. You brought nothing, and I'm looking forward to this. So go on, debunk the curve of the horizon by saying, oh, it's not physical. Off you go.
Remember, I actually gave you a demonstration showing this. I might as well show you another demonstration where I show the sun seeming to set over a flat Earth. Okay, I cannot share screen because you're sharing. Would you please unshare screen?
Done.
Okay, sharing screen. Now, remember, I show demonstrations of everything I claim. You have yet to show demonstrations. You only show pictures of stuff. But anyway, remember, just note what's happening here. You just said sun cannot set. You said things cannot go bottom up of obstruction in the distance on a flat Earth. Please do pay attention. Now note, I'm keeping the light at exactly the same altitude, guys. You see when I started, the closest position was in the top. Is it seeming to have an apparent drop as it goes away in the distance? You know, like what perspective ascribes to happen? Now, as we know, when something goes into this, there's mountains, there's the sea with waves, there's dust, there's buildings, trees, and what happens? It occulted due to the angle that is limited between you and the so-called setting sun, or in some cases, the boat going over the so-called horizon, because the wave that's closer has a larger limited angle. I've done extensive presentations on this just for you, Kat. So please do go and watch those presentations where I literally explain it with orthographic and perspective view. You see, it's exactly the same altitude, yet it sank under the horizon. Where how I can demonstrate this on a flat surface? So again, tell me how we cannot do this.
Fantastic. Yeah, can I share a screen? Is that, so let's have a, okay. I'll just share my screen. So basically, I brought things disappearing over the horizon. I talked about boats and stuff like that, which I don't know, you just completely ignored. And then you showed me yourself dragging a lamp, which across your floor for some reason, and it didn't look like what we see here with something dropping like this. It looked like this top one here, right? What you had to do then is you had to stick a big, massive thing in the way of the sun so we couldn't see it, right? Which is not what we have here, is it, Flatzoid? There's no huge, big bump in the middle of the sea, is there? So, yeah, if you want to take a metal block and block out a lamp and say, oh, that's how the sun sets, you do you, mate. But everybody watching that knows 100% that what you've just shown is not like this whatsoever. Now, you've already in your opening statement agreed that the sun, or that this observation is exactly what we would expect to see on a globe Earth. Unless you're going to deny that now, no. So not only do you agree that star trails are what we would expect to see on a globe, you also agree that this is what we're going to expect to see on a globe. And your way of debunking star trails, let us just remember everybody, is to film a car driving down the street. Awesome job. And your way of debunking the sun setting is to get a big piece of metal or whatever that is and hide a lamp behind it. Can you not see, Flatzoid, how desperately you're trying to make your religious beliefs fit by fudging experiments as much as you possibly can, rather than starting with the actual observations and working back from there, right? That is what you're doing. What you've literally just done there is horrific. Please snap out of these delusions that you have. I'm hoping that when this debate is over, you'll look back and go, God, he's ripped that apart. He's ripped apart the fact that what I'm doing here is no way analogous to this. Of course, it's not analogous to that. That's ridiculous to believe what you've done is anything like this. It's ridiculous to claim that a car driving down the street is anything like this, right? Your star trails, it's ridiculous. So if it makes you happy for now, brilliant. All right. But I hope after this debate, when it's all died down, you think about it, because honestly, man, you need to snap out of this nonsense. Done on that bit.
Okay, you're done.
I'm done.
Where now I can show actual demonstrations and presentations of everything. Have you shown one demonstration of everything yet, except just show a picture and then claim a correlation-based religion?
So the question that we agreed to debate on was evidence that supported our model. And I made it very clear in the opening statement to everybody that this was going to be a debate on honesty for me. And it was going to be about asking the question, would you expect to see X on a globe? Now, you've already told me that you would expect to see this on a globe. You've already admitted that. You've already told me that you would expect to see circumpolar stars on a globe. You've already admitted that. But to deal with it and kind of package it away in your flat earth delusions, you've shown me a car driving down the street and a lamp hidden by a piece of metal. All right. So I have shown you what I promised to bring. So we can move on to either my next bit of evidence or yours.
Like I'm saying, I show you actual demonstration, the mechanics of why it is, you know, doing physical demonstrations, explaining it to you, and then you are ignoring it. I can do another bottom-up obstruction one, if you can let me share my screen, because me, unlike you, I actually do demonstrations. I don't just make assertions based on a religious belief. You guys can see my screen, right? Okay, now I'm going to change elevation. Can you see the compression? Can you see those backlights? Oh, wait, no, you can't. Why? Now, remember, they're all exactly the same elevation. Light one, two light at the back. So what's blocking the light in the back? Would that be the Rayleigh criterion and the limited angle because it's too acute? Well, Catz, you should know all about this. So?
Yeah. Oh, so would you like to discuss the Rayleigh criterion? Should we
any explanation? I'm asking you, any explanation for this demonstration?
An explanation for what? I mean, what exactly are you talking about here?
Is those lights in the background vanishing at exactly the same elevation as the rest of the lights?
So what you're saying, how long is that room, Flatzoid?
That's about 10 meters.
Right. So a room is 10 meters long. You move a camera behind, you know, behind. So you move a camera so you can't see a light in the distance in a 10-meter long room. If you are correct in what you're saying, how on earth can we see ships that are 3 miles out just start dipping below the horizon? This is a 10-meter room. It's a 10-meter room.
You know what this shows you? It shows me
that you're hiding a camera. You're putting a camera level below level with some lights on the floor.
Look,
sorry, I'll give you a second in a minute.
Still talking over me every time.
I will. Let me just say this, then I'll be quiet. I'll just be quiet. We have discussed 3 pieces of evidence, and your debunks, right, of the sun setting and star trails essentially amount to watching a car drive down the street, to hiding a lamp behind a piece of metal, and then hiding a camera or putting a camera at an angle where some lights in a 10-meter room are imagine scaling that up. Someone would walk down the street, they'd be gone in no time at all. If somebody ran a 200-meter sprint on a straight track, you'd only be able to see the head by the time they got to the end of the track. Do you honestly think this comports with reality? Do you honestly think this is actually related in any way to what we see? Flatzoid, you are clutching at straws. These delusions are not doing you any favors. I will shut up now, but please.
The projection is hectic, guys. The projection is hectic with this guy. I show actual diagrams and presentations and demonstrations, and yet I'm the one that's clutching at straws. This is really sad, guys. What has he shown? He's shown just a picture and say, I believe it's that, so therefore it's that. So he's just saying correlation on faith. Where I show actual demonstration, I explain why the mechanics works that way, and I'm the one that's not bringing anything. Let me explain just this one picture to you, Catz, because it seems you have a hard time understanding optics. Angle to first object. Remember, shit shrinks in the distance. Is a different angle to the object in the distance. So this angle is larger than this angle. Therefore, it becomes more acute as it moves away in the distance. So therefore, you have bottom-up obstruction. Thanks to the Rayleigh criterion, the ground will have the larger angular size, and you will see the ground before you see the bottom of that object because it's too small to recognize. Simple fact. Thank you very much.
Wow, that was awesome. So, should we get into a discussion about the Rayleigh criterion? Do you want to get into a deep physics discussion with me, Flatzoid? Because I've kept it quite simple up to this point. But we can talk actual mathematics, Rayleigh criterion, and physics. I'll give you the option, yes or no. Do you want to go down the route where we actually start discussing the Rayleigh criterion and mathematics?
No, because you
No,
first of all,
brilliant. Let's move on to number 3. Let's move on to number 3.
1 and 2 yet.
Oh, right.
And
So
amazing-
whose turn is it to give a point? Is it yours or mine?
Go ahead. You've been doing it all night anyway.
Thank you. And doing it brilliantly, by the way.
There's one thing in the chat that a lot of people are asking about. One of Flatzoid's rebuttals was about, to your thing, Catz, was the plasma moon is the answer to the shadows. I don't know if you guys want to discuss that, but the chat are really excited to hear about Flatzoid's rebuttal to your shadows on the moon.
Brilliant. Let him go for that, yeah.
Okay. What's your rebut about it? Shadows, he said shadows can only curve on a sphered surface, which is false.
No, I didn't say that. I said that the shadow on the moon during a lunar eclipse is spherical because it's the shadow of the Earth cast on the moon. So that implies, obviously, that the Earth is spherical. That's what I said. That happens during only a lunar eclipse. That's what I'm referring to.
Based on a flat Earth model, the lunar eclipse is based on what?
Well, I don't know, because flat Earth is nonsense. Why are you asking me about a flat Earth model? Why are you asking me about that?
Oh, I thought we're trying to bring both evidences. Yeah, why are you only trying to bring yours now and just obfuscate from mine?
I'm sorry.
Plasma,
you want me to bring flat Earth evidence?
If
Seriously.
it's plasma, can it regenerate itself?
You want me to bring evidence for? So you want me to bring evidence for the flat Earth?
Why not answering me? Can plasma regenerate itself, Catz? Very simple.
What are you referring to? Are you referring to blood plasma? Are you talking about ionized gas when you talk about plasma?
Ionized gas, plasma. That's what plasma is. Ionized gas. Come on.
And when you say regenerate itself, what do you mean?
Like the phases of the moon, or when it has eclipse.
Sorry. So let me. The question was this, right? Please let your answer match the question. The question was, you said about plasma and can it regenerate itself? I said, what do you mean by plasma regenerating itself? So that was the question. When we talk about ionized gas and plasma regenerating itself, that was the question. Your answer to can plasma gas regenerate itself was the phases of the moon. Now, that is an answer to a different question, Flatzoid. The question I'm asking is, what do you mean when you say plasma can regenerate itself? Can I have an answer to that question?
Okay, it's just the way it has the phases, just like you have an eclipse.
Sorry, plasma. We've just agreed that plasma was ionized gas. You asked me, can plasma regenerate itself? I asked you, because I wasn't sure what you were talking about, whether you were talking about electrons, free electrons being locked up by positive ions. I didn't know what you were talking about. So I asked you, what does regenerating plasma mean? And you said the phases of the moon. So can you see how your answer is an answer to a different question, maybe a question like what is on screen right now? Have you shown a picture of the phases of the moon? That's the kind of answer that your question, that's the kind of question that your answer's been to, but it's not the answer to my question. So can you specifically tell me what you mean by the sentence, can plasma regenerate itself? Just that word.
Again, what is the cause of ionized gas?
So, right. The question was, Flatzoid, you asked me the question. You asked me the question. Can plasma regenerate itself? I asked you to clarify the question for the benefit of the 900 people watching and the 2 people watching on your channel, and I want an answer. What do you mean by can plasma regenerate itself? What do you mean by the question?
Again, how is ionized gas generating itself into plasma?
No. You said, can plasma regenerate itself? Did you misspeak?
I'm trying to get you to get it, but you're not answering.
Just tell me.
Simple yes or no.
Tell me what you meant by the question, or you misspoke. If you misspoke, just tell me you misspoke. But just tell me what you meant by the question. Don't lead me around the houses. I'm not going that way.
I'm trying to, if you would stop talking for 2 seconds.
So tell me what you meant. Go.
Simple. It has a cycle. It goes through this cycle.
Tell me what you meant by the question.
Itself that based on electromagnetic forces.
Tell me what you.
Okay, so I believe the question was what do you mean by plasma regenerating itself, Flatzoid? Can you answer that question? That way we can get the question that you asked, make sure we get that answered, because I think that a lot of people on the sides would like to know the answer to both of those questions. That way we can move forward.
Okay, like I'm saying, ionized gas regenerating itself is just me trying to say it goes through a cycle. So it's just regenerating based on the electromagnetic forces. That was it.
So can I just define, you asked me the question, because we're still all very unclear. You asked me the question, how does, or just does plasma regenerate itself? That's what you asked me. And I said, what does that mean? And you said the phases of the moon or something. I have no idea. Your answer there still doesn't help. Can you just tell me what you mean by the word regenerate in that question? Just that one word. What do you mean by that one word? It's really nice and simple. You're the expert on it. Please tell me.
Electromagnetic forces.
So electromagnetic forces means regenerate. Does the word regenerate mean electromagnetic forces? Is that what you're trying to tell me, Flatzoid?
I say it goes through a cycle thanks to the
What
electromagnetic
does
forces.
the word regenerate mean in your question? I want to answer your question. You asked me, does plasma regenerate? I have asked you about 50 times, what do you mean by the word regenerate? I'm going to make this really specific and clear. Just tell me what you meant by the word regenerate, so we all know that you're not making this up and you've got some idea what you're talking about.
I just told you.
Tell me again.
Electromagnetic forces and how they work with the ionized gases helps it to regenerate. So therefore, it is cycling. Do you get it?
So what I said originally was right. You are talking about when a gas is either superheated or, when it gets extremely energetic, some electrons can be lost. So we have this sea of positive ions and free electrons. And you're saying the electrostatic forces between those may then cause some of the free electrons to be mopped up by some of the positive ions, right? That's not regenerating plasma. What that is doing is that is removing ions and free electrons and reforming atoms in the earth. So when lightning strikes, it gets very, very hot. The air gets ionized. We have free electrons. We have positive nuclei. Electrostatic forces pull them together, and that's it. There's no cycle. It's it. They've been broken apart and put back together. Now, everybody, there's about 1,000 people in the chat all wanting to know what that's got to do with moon phases or the shadow of the Earth on the moon. I know you're going to give us a good answer, so I'll put myself on mute.
So there's no electromagnetic fields above the Earth.
Okay, so let's go again. There is no. Would
How
you
much
like me
time
to?
are you going to repeat yourself? I'm literally, you're making my point when you brought up lightning.
Brilliant. Would you like me to tell you what electric fields surround? What does an electric field surround, Flatzoid?
Everything.
Right. Electric fields surround charged particles, of course, things with a charge. So when you said there's no electromagnetic field in the other, when you
I never said that. I'm saying, is that what you're saying?
No, clearly not. What I'm saying, I'm telling you now, what I'm saying is when the ionization occurs, we end up with free electrons, we end up with positive ions, and we can treat them as point charges. Each will have their own radial electric field, and the field lines will act in opposite directions because it's got opposite charges. That will result in an electrostatic force, which will pull them together. And then when they are together, the sum of those forces, the sum of those electrostatic charges the charges is zero after they've been pulled back together. But when they are separate, the sum is not zero around each charge. So then they will be pulled back together. So I have no idea, and the chat is still confused. What has this got to do about moon phases? Please tell us.
Like I said, you're making my point. So when the electrostatic charges change in frequency, it changes the phases. So when you have an eclipse, when you have an eclipse, could it just be the cycle it's going through?
So when you say an electrostatic charge changes in frequency, what do you mean? And I'll give you a heads up on this one. Right. So how does the size of a charge, or what is the relationship between the size of a charge and vibration?
It's the temperature.
So the
Well,
relationship between size of charge and vibration is temperature. Are you talking about vibration of the ions and electrons? Or are you
Yes.
talking about, right, so we're not actually talking about the frequency of an electric field. You're just talking
No, the
about
electric
energy
field
that
is what
particles have.
conducts. The electric field is what conducts its cycle. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Right, so let me get this straight. What you're saying is...
Right, thank you.
No, because what you said is complete bullshit. But what you're basically saying is this. We have
So when
we
you
have
have
atoms.
and you have ionized gas, it's not
we
caused
have
by
atoms.
electrostatic forces.
So what you're saying is we have ionized
Oh,
gas.
wow.
You're saying we've got ionized gas, right? So 3 electrons have been lost. We've got positive nuclei behind. And then electrostatic forces allow the positive nuclei to mop up the electrons. And then you've taken that, and this is the bit I'm gonna ask you on now. You've taken that leap to then talk about the fact that they pulled each other together. It's something vague to do with frequencies. Ooh, something really vague to do with frequencies. And that is somehow vaguely linked to moon phases. Can you solidify that and tell us, like really in detail, what the hell you're on about when you talk about frequencies having something to do with moon phases? Because you're inventing a new brand of physics. We all want to hear it.
New brand of physics. So you've never seen an arc reactor before with ionized gas inside.
So an arc reactor causes the moon phases. In what way is a moon phase like? Right, explain this.
With your red herrings and straw mans, just listen to what I'm saying.
I am trying to.
How does it cause the ionized gas to behave when you change the frequency?
The frequency of what?
Electromagnetic.
What? What the hell are you talking about? The frequency of what?
If you put more power,
that doesn't change the frequency. The frequency of an alternating current isn't to do with the power. The frequency of an alternating current is to do with how often the terminals switch, not the voltage, not the current. DC. What are you talking about?
Switching. Alternate current. Direct current is straight. Is ions go direct or alternate?
Is ions current? Ions aren't a current. Ions will move a particular way in an electric field.
Do ion gases run on alternate current or DC?
Do ion gases run on what are you talking? Right, so let me just explain to this how it works. When you have an ionized gas,
yeah, because you keep changing your story.
Brilliant. When you've got an ionized gas, Flatzoid, the cations will move to the cathode. The anions will move to the anode. If the anion and anodes, if the cathode and anodes change places, then you're going to get alternating forces on those ions. If they don't change places, they'll be in the same direction. So can you clarify your question when you say, do ionized gases work on electric? And I don't know why you're asking me, you should tell me. Can you clarify your question?
In other words, how does an arc reactor work? Would you know how arc reactors? No, I just want to know, would you know how an arc reactor works to create plasma gas, ionized gas?
Yeah, ionized gas is produced by having so much energy that you cause ionization. You meet the ionization energy of the atoms, and 3 electrons are released into the or electrons are released from each atom. So it's usually done by super high temperatures.
Okay.
And then what happens is those ions will move to the opposite electrode.
Okay, and if the moon is plasma and it has those frequencies, what happens?
Sorry, what frequencies?
I'm just saying, based on the energy, would it be able to change and have its so-called shadow?
What energy? The thing about people that believe in woo is that they throw out the words frequency and energies without knowing what they're talking about. So let's pin you down on this. When you talk about the frequency of the moon, can you define, for the 1,000 people watching on this channel and the 4 or 5 people watching on your channel, can you define what you mean by the frequency of the moon?
Again, not the frequency of the moon, of the electromagnetic forces attributing to the moon phases.
So here we go again. Electromagnetic forces, we can look at Coulomb's law, right? So Coulomb's law, we've got K, Q1, Q2 over R squared, and that will determine the size of the electrostatic force between 2 charged particles. Now, nowhere in Coulomb's law, if anybody Googles it, does it talk about frequency. So has your understanding of electrostatic forces gone beyond Coulomb himself? Can you tell us what you mean?
Again, just about temperature. That's what I was saying, the frequency.
No,
temperature change.
The frequency of what? I'm asking the question because I really want to know. I want to learn.
What happens when temperature changes, frequency changes? It moves faster.
What frequency? The frequency of what?
Temperature goes up.
The frequency of
more
what?
energy into the system. So when you take energy when you remove energy, transfer it somewhere, or you put more energy into the system, what happens? Does it have the same phase or does it change?
No one knows what the fuck you're talking about. Can you tell us what frequency you are talking? So then we can move on. What do you mean when you say the frequency? The frequency of what?
Well,
it's a very easy question.
Electromagnetic forces attributed to the plasma.
So I've just said to you that electromagnetic forces don't have a frequency. Where did you get the idea that electromagnetic forces between ions have a frequency?
Again, I was trying to explain it.
Please explain. I'll put myself on mute and you can tell us all how electromagnetic forces have a frequency.
What I was trying to explain with energy levels. As easy as that, Baldy. But again, we gain...
Sorry, say that again. Say that again. Let's not skip past it. Let's hold your toes to the fire and talk about it. Say it slowly so everybody can hear. What do you mean by the frequency of electromagnetic forces?
Energy transmitted to have the ion gases moving in their cycle.
So you mean that energy, what is frequency? Is that what you're saying?
No,
energy is frequency.
I was explaining it with frequency.
Brilliant. Can you please explain it better because nobody knows what you mean? And I'm sure you understand it really well.
More heat, faster movement. Less temperature, less movement.
Right. Now that would have been far, far better than inventing and invoking terms like frequency. So what you're saying is, as the temperature increases, the movement of particles increases because they have more kinetic energy. Is that, have I made your argument for you? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Okay. What the hell has that got to do with moon phases?
If the moon is plasma, it goes through the phases and therefore it has different energy levels across the moon.
The problem with plasma, Flatzoid, is it's invisible. When you look, plasma is invisible.
Shall I quickly show you a plasma?
Yeah, what you see when you're looking at plasma is actually electromagnetic radiation being given out by the de-excitation of electrons in the form of light.
Oh wow! But now it's not invisible anymore. Weird.
Right, and does it ever look solid? When you see that light does it ever look solid? Does it ever perhaps look extremely solid and have shadows on the surfaces? Shadows that move across. There we go. It's a perfect representation of the moon. Can we just pause that there? Go back to where you show the plasma.
What's that showing there?
Yeah.
Catz, what is that showing there?
Absolutely nothing to do with the moon. Could you just go back and show the plasma?
No. Would that be a frequency?
Awesome. That's amazing. So when it comes
to frequency,
a frequency of what? What are you looking at?
The energy.
What energy? Like you don't even know what you're looking at.
Energy into the system.
That is amazing. And show me the system.
But you just said it had nothing to do with it. Really
show me the system. Show me the system. Right.
Does that look
anything like the moon to you?
Look how it's moving based on that.
Weird. Does the moon do that? Does the moon do that? Yes or no? Be honest.
Is that part invisible and that part you can see?
It's an honesty test. Does the moon move like that? Yes or no?
No, because this is just an example of ion gases. I never said this was the moon.
Okay. So basically,
a false equivalence.
So no, it's not a false equivalence because you said if the moon is plasma.
Listen,
you said if the moon is plasma, and then you showed me that.
Plasma cannot be seen. You told everyone here.
Hang on a second. We're starting to roll over each other. So let's see if we can find a spot where we can agree to begin from or restart from. So the question about plasma has been brought up, and there's a lot has been said about plasma. I don't think we've gotten anywhere on this point. So their claim of false equivalence. Flatzoid, can you explain what you mean by false equivalence?
He's taking this and he's saying, I'm saying it's the moon. I'm not saying it's the moon. He said simply, he made a claim that you cannot see the gas, and I proved him wrong by showing you can see the gas. That was as simple as that.
Okay. And I believe that, Catz, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're trying to clarify how plasma relates to the moon claim, correct?
Yeah, the whole thing is we talked about the moon and the shape of the Earth's shadow on the moon, and Flatzoid specifically said, anybody can wind back and listen, if the moon was plasma, and then we got debunked and got derailed on the whole frequency and stuff when he made things up. So his claim is essentially that somehow the moon is plasma. Yet when he shows me some plasma, it looks absolutely nothing like the moon.
I said if. Remember your keyword here, if, and say it was.
Okay,
So
well, in that case, can I ask, why would you say that the moon might be plasma?
I said it could be plasma, and that's why you see the shadows the way they do with the eclipse.
Okay, so can I ask you again? Why did you say the moon might be plasma? Is it you saying that base just because the moon has a repeatable pattern of shadows on it? Are you saying the moon might be plasma just because there is a repeat? Right. So basically, rather than the likelihood, if we're going to compare the two models, rather than the fact that the phases of the moon fit perfectly with everything else we see, if I can share my screen, FTFE.
Phases of the moon worked on the flat Earth before globe Earth even came into the story, by the way.
I will tell you what I'm thinking. Can I share my screen, FTFE?
You are sharing.
Am I? It's not come up on my thing. Oh, can you see the field on the screen now?
Yes.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
So when we look at observations like this that the globe comports to, when we look at this that the globe comports to, when we look at this that the globe comports to, that you've all agreed it comports to, you've agreed it comports to the way the sun sets, you've agreed that it comports to this, you've agreed that it comports to this, you've agreed that it comports to this, you've agreed it comports to that, you've agreed all these things. But when we come to the moon, you're saying actually what's more likely than the Earth being a globe is that the moon is made of ionized gas, some sort of plasma, and for some reason that you can't even explain, there are shadows inside the crater of the moon and a shadow that moves across the moon in a regular repeatable pattern that holds the shape of the Earth on it, for an eclipse at least anyway. And you're going to claim that the most likely explanation for that is that the moon is plasma. And when you try and show me that, the picture of plasma you show me is dancing around like my nan on fire, looking nothing like the moon whatsoever, looking bright blue, having no craters, having no shadows, having no characteristics of the moon whatsoever. And you are going to tell me that that is a more likely explanation for the moon than the moon actually being a big spherical rock illuminated by the sun. Just like you said that a car driving down the street was a brilliant explanation of the star trails, and hiding a torch with a piece of metal was a brilliant explanation for sunsets. So I now understand your argument. Forgive me if I am not swayed by it.
Can I please share my screen?
Oh, please do.
I'll share screen. I wonder if you've heard of this guy before.
Consider myself to be an ordinary, humble person who served mankind with what man has striven for.
Remember, he was a heliocentric scientist.
From the beginning of consciousness with truth and understanding of the world. Now, one thing, you have a theory about the moon, and we expect to be able to get observable facts about the moon fairly soon. What is your theory? Well, it is by now rather more than a theory. 10 or 11 years ago, I stated
I just don't know about the music. I just want
to
you to
various
talk.
scientists that the moon is not a piece of...
Yeah, here we go. This is what I wanted to show. Okay, I'm just going to mute it though. But anyway, he's saying the moon is plasma, okay? See, there we go. Very simple. If it's in, like, listen, you remember this is supposed to be with the flat Earth model in the water. It's in the firmament.
Perfect.
So
perfect replication, mate. Perfect.
Just like we see with actual demonstration.
Yeah, that's perfect. I cannot see any way in which that doesn't behave like the moon. I cannot see any way in which dipping a plate in water that's colored blue does not represent the moon. I cannot debunk that. I can't think of any reason why dipping a plate in some water doesn't replicate the shadows moving across the craters of the Earth. Seriously, you've got a car driving down the street.
Spherical plate? Was that a spherical plate?
Oh, well, there we go. Debate's over. He showed a spherical plate in water. Well done, Flatzoid.
I said, was it a spherical plate?
Well, half of it was underwater, but I will trust you if you
No,
say
it wasn't a
spherical,
spherical plate.
I
but
will
it
trust
still
you if you
had-
say that, yeah.
It still had what you said was impossible to show on the flat Earth. So that's the whole point.
No. I never said dipping a plate in water was impossible to show on a flat Earth.
Again, it was about the demonstration, not the dipping the plate. It's
well, let's dive into that demonstration. Can you please tell me how that demonstration causes a repeatable 29.5 day cycle of a waxing on, waxing off shadow from the right to the left on the moon? How does that do that?
Easy.
Well,
Plasma.
because easy plasma. Well, let's go back to plasma. How does plasma create a 29.5 day repeatable cycle over the moon, or are you just clutching at straws?
If you have the same energy levels going the same cycle, it's going to do the same cycle.
What do you mean energy levels? What do you mean energy levels?
Electromagnetic forces.
Right. So we go back again. Electromagnetic forces, right? We talked about, remember we talked about this, Flatzoid, about Coulomb's law and the attraction between different oppositely charged objects, etc. You're going back to the fact that oppositely charged particles have forces acting upon them. And you're saying, that'll do. That's how the moon phases work.
I said it's possible. I didn't say it is. Remember? You even said if.
Well,
it was just based on the flat Earth, because you said it is not possible on the flat Earth. So I had to prove you wrong. It is also based
well
on
done,
flat
you proved me wrong.
which invalidated your argument once again.
Awesome. You did a great job of invalidating it. Well done. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that that's bullshit, and we can move on to the next point. What I'll do before I hand over to you is I will just summarize a few things. I will summarize. Can I just share my screen one more time? I will summarize the fact just for now, and then we'll go on to other stuff. I'm happy to stay here all night. That we talked about bringing repeatable and reproducible observations, right, of our model, and I brought, you know, for example, this and this and this and this and this and this. Oh, and that was you, wasn't it?
Yeah, I brought
this.
I remember I bring actual demonstration.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. And I brought loads of stuff which you have agreed yourself would be expected on the Earth, if the Earth was a globe. And in return, what you've done to me to say, well, actually, these would also work on a flat Earth, is you've shown me a car driving down the street, you've hidden a torch with a piece of metal, you've put a bit of plate in blue water. What else have you done? Oh, yeah, and you showed me some plasma inside a bulb and said that could be what the moon looks like, even though it looks just as much like the moon as I do to, I don't know, King Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, I have no idea what you've brought, Flatzoid.
Okay, can I quickly share my screen?
You can. Can I ask FTFE if I can nip to the loo? Because I had this massive drink of orange before I came out and a couple of pints since.
Yeah,
can I do a second loo break?
We were going to have about 10 more minutes before we get to Super Chats. So yeah, if you want to take a quick break, and then we come back and 10 more minutes of this, and then we get to Super Chats and questions and stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, can I just share my screen so long and all wait for him?
Yeah, go ahead.
He's still sharing, so I can't. It's fine. But like I said, everybody, well, I'm not going to talk about anything while he's not here. So.
Well, I've stopped the screen sharing, so you can pop yours up.
Okay, thanks.
I just want to say, guys in the chat, incredible. We hit 1,132 people at a peak. That is insane. I love you all.
And I just want to say thank you to all my people that's come in. We've hit about 95, which is my best ever.
Awesome.
So far. So
that is good. You know what?
Channel, yeah, brilliant.
Flatzoid, that is more than about 99% of people that stream on YouTube. So good job.
And it's a small channel, so I'm very happy about that. So
it's about 5 times as much as Nathan Oakley gets watching live. So
no, actually gets about 150 these days.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've had fun. What about you, Johnny, so far?
Oh, I've had. Why am I looking at my family photos?
I was wondering why. That's a hell of a beard you got going on there.
What are you doing, Flatzoid? Are you doxing me right now?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was bringing cousin Joe here, but he didn't really want to come. So.
Did everyone see my pajamas when I came in?
We did.
Yeah, you weren't on camera just then.
No.
I'm not wearing any trousers, so you know.
Okay, you can see my screen, Catz.
Oh, for God's sake, yes.
Okay, I'm showing you evidence, just like what your evidence of showing pictures. Therefore, Bigfoot is real, because that is the level of evidence you bring. You show a picture and make a claim that it's real. So I'm showing a picture of Bigfoot. Therefore, I'm claiming he's real. Debunk this.
Well,
let
the
me ask.
problem,
Okay,
hang on a second. The problem with your pictures there, Flatzoid, is that I'm sitting right here.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he's real.
Clearly real.
Okay, so people say this is Cousin Joe. Can you prove this isn't Cousin Joe, please?
I'll have a go at debunking that incredibly difficult point that you just presented to me, Flatzoid. What I will say is this. Everything I showed you, in fact, can I share my screen so I can highlight what I mean? So it's all well and good saying, here's a picture of Bigfoot. Can you debunk that? Right? But here is, if we take ourselves back to the beginning of the debate, where we both agreed to, and here it is, repeatable and reproducible, and the key word here is observations. Now, no, I can't go out and see Bigfoot with my own eyes, but what I can do with my own eyes, Flatzoid, is see this. So I don't need you to say that's just a picture, because I know, and you do know that you could go out and see that, and you've already said it comports with what we'd expect. You know that we can see that. You know that we can see this. You know that the sun doesn't set like this across the sky, but it does go below the horizon. You know that we see stuff like this. So it's very dishonest of you just to say, I'm only bringing pictures. You know you can take your own star trails with a time lapse. You know you can see lunar eclipses yourself. You know you can be in the northern and southern hemisphere and see this. So, no, I can't prove Bigfoot exists because you've shown a picture, because I don't know that I can go and see him. But you and I both know that we can both go and see everything I've brought. Everything. So to actually be reduced to the point at the end of a debate where you're clutching at straws like that, I think just pretty much sums up how badly you've done and why you've lost.
Are we going to do closing statement now, or?
Yeah, I think we could do closing statements, and then I can do super chats if you like, and then I believe we're going to be doing an after show on Catz and Toon's channel.
Yeah, because I'm also gonna do super chats and then also a bit of an after show. Okay.
Right. So, closing statements. Who wants to go first?
Catz can go first. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, I think. Listen. I think everybody is. If I can. Oh, I am sharing my screen. How long do I get for the closing? 3 minutes. Everybody's seen what's happened here tonight from the beginning to the end. There's very little to say. We've all seen it with our own eyes. We started off with the agreement we will both bring observations and or measurements that are reproducible to support our model of the Earth. Flatzoid has brought none of those. He's basically just said the Earth must be stationary because I've shown a car driving down the street, so that debunks, star trails. He hasn't really said much else apart from that the moon might look like a blue bit of plasma in a bulb. And this is where I want to bring everything back to, where are we? To this. Now, I don't blame...
You're not sharing your screen right now.
Oh, God, I must look like a right idiot doing that. I thought I was being really cool.
Pajamas, Catz.
Well, they saw your face, so, that's that.
Oh, that's horrific, then. I want to bring everybody back to this, all right? Flatzoid knows that the so-called science he's brought doesn't really have anything to do with anything he said. Everybody knows. I mean, it's not a secret. It's not a secret that what he said is absolute tosh. We all know that. We all know that in the chat. My one aim was to come here tonight and to get some honesty. And at least Flatzoid has been honest enough to say that everything I brought is what we would expect on an Earth, on a globe Earth. What he hasn't been able to show in any way, shape or form is anything that reflects a flat Earth. And I think when he goes away from here, he'll think about the so-called evidence he's brought, how it was so easily ripped apart, how his knowledge of the science that he was talking about in terms of frequencies and electrostatic frequencies and wavelengths and energies and all that nonsense, how easily that was ripped apart and how little he knows about the subjects he was talking about. Because deep down, he's religious, nothing wrong with that. I ain't going to bash you for being religious, not that I am, but I would never bash anybody for being religious, right? But it's all here. Science is only for nature and not for the supernatural. You don't care enough to educate yourself properly about the big things, because to you, God takes care of it. You've got your idea that the earth is flat because of God. Fine, keep hold of that idea. But don't go around pretending you know about science. You've clearly been shown tonight to know less about science than my wet shoelace knows about Pink Floyd. All right? Just have your beliefs and stop preaching stuff that you don't understand. That is my closing statement.
All right, Flatzoid, you have 3 minutes when you begin.
Thank you. Okay. Wow. How can I put this? He tells me I don't bring anything, yet what am I showing here? My video, my video, my video, my video, my video, all having actual demonstrations and mechanics explaining everything that he has shown ignorance to. Also, he says he knows what science is, and yet we haven't even chatted about science here. All he does is know he does not know what science is, because we weren't even talking about science this whole debate. Also, he might want to reconsider actually saying he knows what science is if he cannot even know how to set up a hypothesis. Your whole globe is based on pseudoscientific reasoning. It's based on correlation-based, not causation-based, Baldy Catz. So you might want to reconsider. Also, next time, instead of telling me, oh, you show me debunking your claims with actual demonstration is not observable, repeatable, that's what repeatable means. I can actually go out and repeat what I observe. Hence why I have countless demonstrations and observations on my channel. So please do go up, and you guys can actually watch me show presentations showing where I actually explain this stuff to you. Hence why I think he got totally thrashed, and that's why he has not even addressed gas pressure without containment. He ran away from the station Earth, and he totally ran away from level water. So thank you again for coming. That's all I have to say. Thank you. It was actually fun, even though you were showing to be dishonest the whole stream.
Oh, come on now. Let's not do the digs at each other. That's a closing statement.
No, that's the truth.
All right. Well, if you will be so kind as to stop sharing, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, sorry.
No worries. Well, that was an interesting discussion. I will say this.
I've had fun. I've had a lot of fun. I've had to keep myself on mute because I was screaming in the background.
It wasn't muted enough.
Yeah.
In all fairness, I have to say, I don't have anything against you cats and guys. It was really fun. Thanks. We do not agree on things, but I do enjoy this.
Yeah. Now, even though I agree with Catz on a lot of the stuff, Flatzoid, I have watched a lot of your streams lately because I'm writing your episode of Flerfs Are Idiots. And there is a big difference between you and people like Nathan Oakley in the way that you present yourself. Even though I may think some of the things you say are dishonest and the way you present them is dishonest, watching you is infinitely more pleasurable than watching someone like Nathan Oakley or Nathan Thompson or many of the other flat earthers. So if you're going to keep pushing the flat earth, be a good representative for flat earth, because at the moment, I think you're probably one of the best representatives out there with the way you are presenting yourself in your streams.
Oh, thank you. I'll take that as a compliment.
By the way, your time is up. Sorry.
Thanks, Johnny. And I have to say thank you, Johnny, for moderating.
Yeah,
I got a bit earlier.
I like Johnny. He's a good moderator. I'm going to read out super chats. Right, what I'll do quickly, Flatzoid, if it's right with you, I'll just look through my super chat, see if there's any questions specifically for you.
Okay.
And then you're welcome to leave. And I know you've got to do super chats on your side as well. Is that all right?
Yeah, 100%.
Right. Carney Corn for €5 says, "Can Flatzoid say hi? I'm Korg and I'm made of rocks."
Hi, I'm Pork and I'm made of rocks.
Oh my God.
I think that's got to do with Michelle. What that Michelle woman saying? Your cousins of rocks.
No, have you not seen the Thor? And there's a literal guy made of. There's a guy made of rocks that speaks with a South African accent.
I'm saying it in the English accent, in the South African accent.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does it say again?
Hi, I'm Korg and I'm made of rocks.
I'm Cork and I'm made of rocks.
Perfect. Stringer News 1 asks, is there gas pressure in Uranus?
I would hope so. Farts come out a lot.
Andreas Eldritch 56 asks, Flatzoid, does the sun set slightly north or slightly south of due west this time of year?
I'm not really sure, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. Sorry.
Fair enough. Honest answer. I like that. Mary Karen for 15, I'm not really sure what currency that is, but thank you, asks, can you clarify what you mean by calculations or not measurements?
Yeah, measurements, you can physically go and measure something. With calculations, you have an equation, you just calculate thinking, you know, you have a deduced, I can say outcome based on calculation. It's not measured.
All right, and the follow-up is, can you measure speed?
With RPM.
Just speed in general. Can you measure a velocity?
Yeah, it's a calculated measurement. So, yeah. Because they measure based on the distance. So, yeah.
So it's a calculation, but it is a measurement.
Yeah, but it's based on actual measurements. I can't say you can't calculate based on a measurement. You can, like sextant reading, you're measuring something and then you're doing calculation based on the measurement.
Well, yeah, that's
just like speed. So. Just like speed, you can measure it and you're calculating based on the speed on the measurement.
Oh, okay. There's a lot of insults towards you, so I'll just leave them right now.
I'm used to it by now.
Yeah. Johnny sorry, just checking if there's any specific questions for you, because I know people like those to get answered. Got the air stuff for Flatzoid. Tommy Gronville for 50 Nokia says, for Flatzoid, why did you use a bucket or whatever to hide your sun at sunset?
It was a paint can. I was just trying to prove that things can occult it when it has a larger angular size due to the angle towards the sun. So it's the same as just representing a mountain or a tree or a wave or something that has a larger angular size because it's closer.
Right, so to clarify, your claim as to why the sun sets is that there's always something in the way.
Because of the angle, correct.
Right.
Can I just say something on that?
Yeah, please.
Of course, because obviously wherever we are in the world, we can predict exactly what time the sun is going to set and what day the sun is going to set. And it changes, doesn't it? The time of sunset changes, you know, constantly. So if you're going to claim that the sun sets purely because there's something in the way, then why does the sun set, you know, why does the sun set so predictably and easily, whether it's over a mountain range or whether it is over flat water, or like why is it so easy to predict? Like, for no matter where you are in the world, it's not just some random something in the way, you know. And are you claiming there's like huge monster waves at sea that are, it just doesn't make any sense? No,
it's just when the angle gets too limited to sea, then you have something that's going to be closer with a larger angular size than that limited angle, therefore it occults the sun.
That's fair enough. It's just a minute ago you said that something would always block it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Based on angles.
It's just something to do with angles, and we don't know how we can use that to predict exact times. It's just something to do with angles. Got it. Understood. Thank you.
It's always angles.
Right. Next one, Pilo1408 for $2 asks, Flatzoid, where does the energies for the moon come from that change the frequencies of the plasma?
It was just speculation, but anyway, yeah, like I'm saying, it just could be electromagnetic forces above there, so you don't know.
But you couldn't specify where those forces would come from.
No, like I said, the only point I wasn't making, I wasn't claiming it. I was just saying, because he made a claim, you could not have this on a flat Earth. So I told him, based on a flat Earth model, it could happen. That's what I was also saying, because there are flat Earth models that said it's plasma.
Okay. Earth is Life for $10 says, Flatzoid, do you agree with the straight line measured distances that are on Google Earth?
Yeah, Google Earth is a flat Earth map. Have you checked the elevation angles yet? It's
yeah, I have.
Flat, horizontal.
Whoo! Good Lord! Please, somebody clip that.
Yeah, and while you do that, actually go on Google Earth and go to the elevation angles, and you'll see what I mean.
JSS Tiger for $5 says, Flatzoid, do you know that frequency is to do with the number of oscillations of a wave per unit of time?
Yeah, energy. That's what I was trying to explain to him. It moves faster and it moves slower. Frequency, energy.
Right, and that change in frequency can make parts of the moon invisible.
Based on that, what I was trying to explain, yeah.
Makes sense, perfect sense.
Yeah, 100%. Timo Lynch, €5. Flatzoid, if you prattle on about gas pressure without containers, please explain pressure gradients in atmosphere and liquids.
Very simple. It's got to do with gas behavior and how it behaves based on temperatures and volumes. Maybe you guys learn the ideal gas law because it kind of explains it, even though it's just yeah.
Yeah, those were all words, definitely. Conor Silva for $5. Question for us, Flatzoid. If the moon is plasma, how did we leave retroreflectors? Yes. And yes, they have been confirmed multiple times.
I don't know. You tell me. Like I said, I wasn't claiming it is plasma. I was just simply rebutting based on a flat Earth model because he said his claim was it cannot happen on a flat Earth. So I used the flat Earth model to rebut his argument.
Just a couple more for you, Flatside. Megan Satanas, member for 25 months. That's more than twice around the sun. Get in. Says, Flatzoid, do you drink your own pee?
Definitely no. Okay.
That's a good thing. Because Nathan Oakley does. Earth is Life for $10 says, Flatzoid, do you agree with the measured straight line distances between Johannesburg and Sydney, which is 6,863 miles?
I haven't measured myself, so obviously I'll have to agree with it. Because it seems to be...
All right, well, that is all the questions for you, Flatzoid. I know you've got your own stream to finish up, so you feel free to leave. And thank you very much for being courteous enough to come and do this debate. I do appreciate it. You're showing the other flat earthers how to act. You're stepping out of your channel. You're coming and talking to other people. You're being relatively decent enough to engage. And you're not just threatening to, stick your ball bags in people's mouths, etc., etc. So please keep up the good work because it gives me infinite content to make videos about.
Glad I can help. But again, thank you, Johnny, for being on. Thank you, Catz, and thank you, Craig. Hopefully we can do this sometime again.
Yeah.
And don't forget, tomorrow night it's McToon.
Yes. Yeah. Tomorrow night, guys. Flatzoid is debating MC Toon, and it's going to be a good one. We'll talk a bit more about that in the after show.
Yeah.
Can I just say something to Johnny before we finish up?
Yeah, I've got a few more super chats to.
Oh, sorry, mate. Sorry.
No, you do that, and then I'll read the rest of the super chats.
All right. Well, just before Flatzoid goes, I want to say this publicly rather than just behind the scenes. I knew tonight when I came into this debate that if I wasn't forceful and aggressive, which is not how I normally like to debate, I knew that it would just be me listening to a lot of waffle, and I knew I had to hold somebody's toes to the fire, and that would require me constantly interrupting and butting in. And I knew that whoever was moderating would have a job on their hands. And I just think Johnny did an absolutely brilliant job. And I apologize that sometimes I was, and I know, and you know that I was sometimes over the top in trying to hold Flatzoid's feet to the fire with it. And it was always going to be my plan, but I don't feel nice about having to put you through that. And I want to apologize for it, but also just say that you handled it brilliantly, like a proper pro, and what a great job. So that's not what I'm always like. Anyone who's watched the Agree to Disagree knows I'm not always.
You've been watching too many of my debates, haven't you, Catz?
It was a special event tonight that meant I had to approach it in a special way. But you did a great job, Johnny, and I'm sorry for making you have to mute me. At some point. So thank you.
Oh, no
I
worries.
wanted to say it's not odd because it's not your character how you are tonight. So I feel honored. Thank you, Catz.
Cheers again, Flatzoid. I appreciate it. And thank you to everyone on Flatzoid's stream. Keep supporting Flatzoid because it's going to give me content.
Okay, cheers, guys.
See you later.
Bye. Bye.
Captain Nugget for $5 says, love the content. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. Stringer News 1 for $5 says, Modus Tollens, all flat earth swans are black. White swans exist. Therefore, the earth is not flat. I mean, stop using facts and logic. That's just too mean. Mark Godin for $5 Canadian. I'm new here. Question that's been bugging me. Is it you singing Fight the Flat Earth in the intro? It's been bugging me. No, I wish I had a set of lungs like that. That is my very good friend, Sam Sorkeld, who you can find the info about his band in the description. It's called Sleepwalker. They have taken a bit of a hiatus, but I'm sure they're actually in the studio doing new stuff relatively soon. Yeah, I wish I could sing like that, but no, unfortunately not. Carney Corn for €5 says, on a day with bad visibility but lots of refraction, I see the island of La Palma, but on a totally clear day it vanishes, even with a telescope. Why? Well, clearly because of perspective, right? Stringer News 1 for $2 says, Catz, do you believe in dog?
Do I believe in dog?
Yes.
I do believe in dogs, yes. Yeah, I do.
You like dags?
You like dags?
I like dags, yeah.
Do you have any pets, Catz?
You know, I've got some fish, mate. I've got some fish, and I love them.
See, the first pet that I got, like when Emma and I had got our place, was fish, right? And I was really worried because I could not keep the bastards alive. Which scared me because I wanted to have a family with Emma, and I was worried, if I can't keep a fish alive, what am I going to be like with an actual human?
They are tricky things, you know, when you get, you know, until you there's a lot of, not science, but artistry really behind getting a tank and the conditions right and stuff.
Yeah.
And I've killed loads accidentally, you know, in the past.
Slightest
Feel bad
change
about
in
it,
pH and stuff, you know, just slight change in temperature at the wrong time. It's, yeah, I don't, you know, fish, they can stay in the sea. That's fine.
So I got to say this. I was mildly distracted by grabbing some medicine that I needed to take. All I heard was Catz say, I've killed loads.
Accidentally not kept my fish tank at peak parameters and lost some fish in the past. I've learned. I'm good now. I'm good.
I feel like this is some sort of roundabout innuendo for the problems that us men have as we get older.
Yeah, and God, am I getting old? Oh, I'm 40 next year, man. What happened?
Piss off.
I'm the young one here.
I've got to be older than you, Johnny, surely.
We're roughly the same age.
I'm 43 now.
Yeah, I'm probably 42 in a couple of months.
You know,
so I am the old one.
Yeah. You know, Simon, Dan and I were not only born like just a month or so apart, but we were born in the same hospital, in the same wing.
Yeah, I know. I knew that. It's amazing.
Crazy. Yeah, Flatzoid, he answered all the things. Good playing along with the Korg thing. That's awesome. Mary Karen, for another 15 of those, says, amazing to see teachers excelling at their job through these debates. Great opening, Catz. You are a pride to your profession.
Thank you.
Pilo1408 for $2 says, we are rotating. Bob said so. He absolutely did. Thank you, Bob. And then for another $2 says, tokamak reactors have gas uncontrolled in a vacuum. It is plasma, not necessarily just gas. It's ionized gas. And it's controlled by the electromagnetic fields, extremely strong ones. Which gives flat earthers, oh, look, we can control the ionized gas with electromagnetic fields, except our atmosphere is not made of plasma, so no. Stringer News 1, no, read that one, thank you. Draco Fire, member for 27 months, says physics teacher 1, flat earther 10 to the negative 17.
It's a bigger number, right?
definitely a negative number. Justin Neal, member for 32 months. Jesus Christ, you guys are amazing. 11 frames Flatzoid has been wrecked for a while. I like how Flatzoid said, yeah, I did delete the 11 frames to take away the Mirage. But the Mirage is still there when you take away the frames. What you took away was the thing going behind the Mirage.
Yeah.
And then claimed that we're dishonest for pointing at... I don't understand the workings of a flat earther's brain.
Well, it was a post-event excuse, wasn't it? Like, in that original video, when he took them out, he didn't tell anybody he took them out, and then he had to come up with an excuse. Like the sextant thing that I grabbed at the beginning. He clearly was referencing the vertex, clearly thought it was a right angle when it was 60 degrees, and then he had to post-edit some kind of excuse, rather than just say, okay, I got it wrong. You know, it looked 90 degrees on the picture. That would have been great. It looked 90 degrees in the picture. I've cocked up. I didn't realise they were only 60 degrees. He's had to post-edit in some sort of excuse, you know, and it's a shame. That's why I wanted to make it all about honesty.
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to say, many Karen, I keep saying marry Karen, just because I read weird.
I don't want to marry Karen.
Many Karen, I do apologize. That is your correct name. Because he also asked Flatzoid that calculations are not measurements, and how do you measure speed, which is a very good question, because Flatzoid had to admit that you do calculate speed, but it's still a measurement. So he just admitted that calculations can be measurements. Brilliant. Stringer News 1 for $2. Is this Flatzoid's Captain Krieg moment? No, it's Flatzoid's just losing moment. He does that a lot. Quitty's the Sprinkler, member for 35 months, says, bring back female FTFE. She is way more interesting. Oh, I may have to bring back female FTFE, because I don't know if the wife wants to keep doing the videos for me. Have you ever seen me as female FTFE, Catz?
I have, and I will not deny the fact that I might have printed some photographs off and have them on my ceiling. I won't deny that.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that, because you know what? I would. God, look at her, right?
It's just so frightening on so many levels.
So, let's say parallel universe, Catz, right? And then through this dimension door to our universe steps a female version of you. Would you?
Mate, I know where I've been, so absolutely not. Not at all. Anything? No, I'm kidding.
What about you? What about you, Johnny? Female Johnny walks through. Still got the beard.
Wait a minute. Why does she still have to have the beard?
Well, that beard is a constant throughout all the multiverse, I've heard.
Oh, shit. No. 1,000 times no.
Mr. 42 for €2 says, I have created farts that sounded more intelligent. Yep, me too. Choose Life gave me 2 lots of 10 Nokias with no message. Thank you very much. Big TB 1717 for $10 says, I'm way behind, but in the 12mm versus 200mm frame, if the person takes up the same portion of the picture, the photographer moved. That is very dishonest, Flatzoid. Yeah, I'm going to have to look into that claim, because it did look like it was different positions, but I'm not a photographer, so I'm not going to say anything definitive. Luke Filewalker, member for 19 months, says, Catz is on fire here. Catz, you're on fire. You should probably do something about that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. The plot hole. Yeah. Member for 31 months. Jesus, you've been a member for my channel for that long. Dude, you're awesome.
Has it been that long? Jeez, I can't even. I just put it on auto pay and don't even think about it.
I forget about these. Sub to the plot hole. Yeah, guys, if you haven't subbed to the plot hole, you saw how awesome he was at moderating today. Please go and do that. He's got a great channel. He covers a lot of general community stuff, news stories, court stuff, Karen stuff, delete laws, being an idiot, even flat earthers and stuff. He's a great commentary. Him and his partner on there, who his partner also does the horror show, which is great. Please do go and check out the plot hole. They're amazing.
It's a lot of fun.
It is. I enjoy watching you guys. Standard Gert for £5 says, as a patron of Catz and a supporter of his work, I would like this £5 to go from his for this absolute murder of a Flerf. I don't know if they want me to send you that £5, Catz, but I'm not going to.
It's a lovely comment, though. Thank you.
Judy Bassett, member for 8 months, says, Johnny O is a good moderator. Yes, absolutely he is. Draco Fire, my youngest sub for $10, says the globe is an open system and gas pressure can only exist on a closed system, therefore the Earth is flat. He's quoting the Flatzoid there. And he says, that is the most astounding straw man or leap in logic combo I've ever seen. Come on, you've heard Flat Earthers many times. They make bigger leaps in logic than that. Like, for instance, Flat Earth Jesus once told me that the moon was dug out of the Grand Canyon by giants, melted into quartz whilst it was still...
Stop. You can't do that. You can't lump in the shit that came out of that dude's mouth with anything else that you've ever heard.
True.
By far the worst dribble.
He also told me the sun's an interdimensional portal.
Right. Even Flat Earthers like, dude, can you just stop right now?
Yeah, please, you're embarrassing us. P. Barnes, member for 35 months, says Flats has just confirmed that Earth has no engines. P. Barnes, amazing. Thank you for being a member for so long. It warms my cold heart. And then for another $5 says Flats just confirmed that paint tins cast shadows. This is cutting edge stuff. Yeah. So, right, with this thing's getting in the way. Why does the sun set at the same time if you're looking at a mountain range or not in the distance? It would be different, right? But it's not.
pretty sure I said exactly the same thing before Flatzoid dropped, and he didn't have an answer to that, did he?
No. Siggy Sigwald for $2 just says cats, 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 cats. I think he likes cats.
Thank you.
And then Screwy Louis for £5 says left and right is not the same as clockwise and anti-clockwise. I've been trying to get a flat earther on Facebook to answer me for ages. Why, if I'm in a plane and I go continually west, am I not banking? Because you should be, right? Because west and east are circles for them. Connell Sil... No, wait, there we go. Many Karen for 15... I'm not sure what the currency is, but thank you. Plasma regeneration is like Flerf ignorance. You teach them something, and 5 seconds later, their ignorance regenerates. Glad to have helped. There you go, cats.
Got it. That's where it come in.
Yeah. It's powered by Flerf ignorance.
Can I say that while he was giving his demonstration with the cars and whatnot, and then his demonstration with the camera movements, I wanted to see his math to show how that was. Well, I know. Well, I wanted to see the math how does that work in relation to scale?
They spell math with an E, Johnny. That's the problem.
Well, negative E, but whatever. I mean, I think that that's kind of a point that I would have liked to have heard fleshed out a little bit. I'm kind of disappointed in you, Catz, for not bringing that up.
Yeah.
You know what? I before the debate tonight, I'll mention this in the after show later on, but like before the debate tonight, I've got a PowerPoint here with 250 odd slides. It goes into the Yachtboss effect. It goes into using satellites to monitor droughts in Texas and stuff like that. It goes deep into the maths. I did ask him at one point, do you really want to go into the maths? Let's do it. And he went, no.
No.
And what I wanted to do tonight, like I laid out at the beginning, was just make it about honesty. And for him to say yes or no, I would expect this on a globe. And that's all I wanted, because he is and all right, I'm not going to pick on someone for being mathematically illiterate, but he is mathematically illiterate. So I didn't want to go down the route where I'm just saying, show me, because it wouldn't have had any significant resonance with him, because he doesn't understand how significant that maths would have been. That was my thought at the time. I thought, if I just stick on observations we can see with our own eyes, and I tailored it for him. Maybe I did it wrong, though. You know, I could have buried him on that, and I don't know. I had weird tactics tonight.
Perhaps it would have been an interesting point to get him to think. Now, first and foremost, people need to understand that debates aren't, you know, if I'm debating Catz, I am not trying to get Catz to believe me. I'm trying to get the audience to believe me, first and foremost. But I do think in this point, it might have brought him to the point where he would have thought, you know, maybe I need to examine my position, because this is a bad argument, because this is not to scale, which,
yeah,
based on, you know, evidence and logic and whatnot, if I'm not bringing a to scale argument trying to show how a model does or does not work, that's just a terrible argumentation.
You're right, and I think I did that, or I tried to, Nathan Thompson, with the whole trigonometry thing and trying to get him to show how that works and whatnot. And I perhaps should have. I don't know. I watched this debate back and think, oh, what did I do right? But I perhaps should have gone down that route. I kind of veered off where I wanted to be, but.
Well, that being said, I don't think you performed poorly.
Oh, not in the slightest.
No.
You gave Flatzoid what he needed. Connell Silver, first member for 21 months, says electromagnetism is the MacGuffin of Flat Earth. It's the magical artifact that can do whatever Flerfs want it to do. Clowns. Yeah, if in doubt, say magnets. Monkey Cat Pat, who's been a member for 25 months, says Flatzoid really needed the cat's treatment. Yes, he did. Rachbot, my favourite AI, for $2 Australian, says great show, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Stringer News 1, $5 says Flatzoid, thanks for proving IQ numbers can reach negative values. Ziggy Sigwald for $10 says, got here late and I'm listening from the start. I think I've heard enough of his arguments. So much so that I'll debate a Flerf next time. To debate a flat earther, all you need to do is have a brain cell. Connell Silver for $5, suffering a nasty head cold at the moment and had to call off work the last couple of days. Thanks for the entertainment, Catz and FTFE. My thoughts go out to you because I've been feeling like shit for the past month, so it sucks. Indie Tiger Sci-Fi Review, $20 with no message. Thank you very much. Claire View for $10. Please have Catz back. Congrats on 1,000 viewers. Yeah, Catz, so I'm going to get 1,000 viewers when you come on. You're welcome anytime, mate.
Mate, I would love to come on. You know what I'd love to do? I know it's not your thing, you do all flat earth stuff, but if you ever have a debate or want to set up a debate against someone who promotes wellness products, or I would, that is absolutely where my passion's at the minute. I would love to do that.
I will look into getting that set up because, yeah, those people need debunking because they're dangerous. They sell products that people kind of put their lives on and stuff, and yeah. Yeah. String News $1, $5 in the interest of positivity. Flatzoid is doing a very good impression of the Black Knight. JS Tiger, $5. Flatzoid, no, we read that one. Mep Merpy Merp Merp for £5. If the plate in water explains moon phases, how does the moon tilt each way specifically? And why that way? Why doesn't it fade? The craters. Any evidence? No, there's never any evidence for anything they say. Just remember that fact. JS Tiger, $5. Flatzoid's demonstrations demonstrate no understanding of science. Yeah, he keeps saying that science proves things. That's all you need to remember. Timo Lynch, €5. No, read that one. Nerd Alert, member for 28 months. Have mercy, guys. Some pity votes for Flatzoid. No, stop voting for Flatzoid. Sarah Jones for £4 says, I wonder how Flatzoid will edit this. I'm sure he'll remove 11 frames. Pat in the chat.
That's not enough frames.
No. Member for 10 months says, to Catz, good job, you did not disappoint. To Flatzoid, you can't use speculation in the debate, bud. Major fail. Yeah, his debunk to the moon was, it could be plasma.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to point out that they just pull these, well, it could be this, it could be that, right on the backside and use it as some kind of crutch to deny, well, what's more likely, you know? And I think that's why they call themselves globe deniers these days rather than flat earthers or whatever, because they know that all the observations lead to a globe. And I meant to say this in the debate. They know that all the observations lead to a globe. So to them, it's like, well, there might be something out there that could be different, but I'm not going to say what it is.
Exactly.
And that's where the arguments come from.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it's definitely not gravity in a globe.
Right. So that would have been the second point, which I would have liked to have seen you talk about holding his feet to the fire. I mean, when you're talking about preponderance of evidence, just preponderance of evidence, if you're looking at, we have this explanation here, we have this explanation here, based on the preponderance of evidence, which one makes more sense? This one, that we have evidence, we have observation, we have theory, we have, and theory doesn't mean what these idiots think it means. We have all of this information that has been put through the crucible, so to speak, or, well, it could be this and it could be that. Which one?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that
requires an honest conversation.
Yeah, that when I was coming in tonight, that I was hoping it would go that way, and I didn't do that. You know, I had all those observations that I had, and I had him all ready with that dishonesty table, and I wanted to hold his feet to the fire. What is, you know, is this what you'd expect on a globe? You know, what's more likely? And I kind of derailed a little bit from that, but it's exactly
you did well.
Easy to do. It's easy to do when they say things like moon, space, space gas.
Yeah, yeah.
This is weight, but this is space weight.
Right.
Many Karen for 6 Schmeckles says, ask Flatzoid to explain what explains means. He wouldn't know, so that would be a pointless thing in futility. Donald Trump's Bone Spurs, member for 32 months, says, I've missed the whole show. Space comma.
Space comma.
Space comma. Have you still got it behind you there?
I have got the space comma. It's down there. I don't know if you can see it with the without the light on, but it is right there.
Awesome. The guy that made that for you also made me a YouTube button when I hit 5K. Awesome, dude.
He's great.
Ted La Coca for $9.99 says his slide orthographic representation showed an object shrinking, not bottom-up obstruction, and his demonstration of bottom-up obstruction was ignorant of how contrary he even is to himself. Yeah. Flat earthers will say something and then 30 seconds later debunk themselves without realizing it. Stringer News 1 for $5 says, Flatzoid, thanks for participating. For your consolation price, we're sending you a salad shooter and a case of preparation H. Yeah, he's going to need more than a case after that. Timo Lynch for €2 says, Catz, can you sing Optical Effect for Gary Webenanga?
But I don't even know the words anymore. I'll tell you what, I'll put it out as a short on my channel tomorrow.
Do it!
I'll put it out as a short on my channel.
Droopy Wiener, for member for 22 months, says, Catz smashed flats. Nice job, Catz. You get an A+.
Thank you.
Nerd Alert for €3. Catz is flat earth navigation based on tri-fluctuation.
I think it must be, absolutely.
Yes, for something.
And the whole thing prepared about the sextant as well. Whole thing, it was amazing, but he...
hey, we can always arrange a round 2.
Yeah.
You might need to recover. Give it a month or so.
Sounded real enthusiastic about the idea.
Like, don't make me do it, no.
But I genuinely would love if you get someone who is selling these wellness products. You know, I would love that. I would be here in a heartbeat.
I'm going to look into that most definitely. For $2, for £2 says for €2. Thank you. Andreas Eldritch for 20 sec says Flerf Blaine is the result of the teller of Carabaraxis. Possibly. I don't know what you're talking about. Draco Fire for $2 says change the world. My final message. Goodbye. Yes, thank you, Draco Fire. I know you had to go to work. Thank you for popping in. Indie Tiger Sci-Fi Review for $2 says ask Catz to say space comma. Give us one more, Catz.
Space comma.
Never gets old. And then last one, thank you very much. Stringer News 1 for $2 says Catz Earth Forever. Wow, what a show. What an absolutely amazing show. We smashed my highest record for people watching. We hit 1,132 people. That's mental. So thank you very much for that. Catz, thank you so much for coming and agreeing to do this debate for me. And Johnny, thank you very much for being the moderator. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
There's going to be an after show simultaneously casting on both Catz channel and MC Toons channel. So
not mine. Not mine tonight. I'm going to go on MC Toons.
Right,
and
okay.
then I'll do my own after show maybe tomorrow night or the weekend.
Perfect. So just head over to MC Toons to see the after show. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. It's been incredible. Just remember that stupidity is not a right, and fight the flat earth. Fight the flat. 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 I gotta get this tune on Spotify.
I can't hear it. Johnny,
no, it's not coming through.
I just want to say, Johnny, I meant what I said before. I did feel like a dick at